watching the Xfinity Racing Series from Charlotte. It's raining there. When that race resumes, that will be on FS2. Here on FS1, we've got baseball. It's the Royals against the Rangers, Game 3 of a 4-game set from here in Globe Life Park, where the two teams have split the first 2 games of this series. And hello to everybody. Justin Kutcher alongside CJ Nikowski. I hope you're enjoying this holiday weekend. CJ, as far as pitchers are concerned in all of Major League Baseball, I don't know if there's a more fun one to watch than the guy who turned 45 on Thursday, Bartolo Colon.
He has been an amazing story, continues to be an amazing story, and has done an incredible job here for the Texas Rangers. It's not just a feel-good story. You're talking about a guy who is contributing in a big way to this Texas Rangers rotation, and that really wasn't part of the plan. He signed just a minor league deal in spring training, and he did an excellent job, makes the team, and he's been a steady contributor, and it's amazing to watch. It's not high velocity, but it's consistency. He throws a ton of strikes, uses that fastball at 88 to 90 miles an hour, and you saw it there. He's still a really good athlete, fields his position extremely well.
He uses his body very well. He's nicknamed the Big Sexy, so the Big Sexy matchup today will be Bartolo Colon against Mike Moustakas.
Mike Moustakas has been another interesting story here in 2018. He had a great year last year, and he set a Royals record with 38 home runs in a season. Did not find that big contract that everybody thought he would, and he ends up back with the Kansas City Royals on a 1-year deal. You go back to 2017, those 49 home runs, those are 6th best in Major League Baseball and the best among third basemen. So what happened last year was no fluke for Mike Moustakas. He's proving that again this season.
Today, on this Saturday, on Memorial Day weekend, it is 96 degrees in Arlington. Get the sunscreen ready. It's a scorcher. Royals and Rangers coming up, first pitch, and starting lineups right after this here on FS1. Here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas on a steamy, sunny Saturday afternoon. Look at those kids with the shades. That is awesome. They've got style. Trying to keep cool here on this hot day. We're all set for some baseball between the Royals and the Rangers here on FS1. A look at the lineup for Ned Yost and the Kansas City Royals entering this game 17-34. John Jay will lead things off. Whit Merrifield in center field bats second. Mike Moustakas will bat third. Salvador Perez cleans things up. Jorge Soler in the 5-hole. Alex Gordon will DH and bat sixth. Hunter Dozier at first. Ryan Goins at second. And Alcides Escobar at short, rounding out the order. The numbers on Bartolo Colon for the 45-year-old, a 3.51 ERA in 8 starts, 10 games overall, 56 and a third innings. But how about that? Just 5 walks in 56 and a third innings.
An absurdly low number, and we'll take a look at the pitch arsenal for Bartolo Colon, and this is even more absurd. A ridiculous amount of fastball, 68% on the 2-seamer, another 15% on the 4-seamer. You'll see the changeup and the slider once in a while, but it is all about the heater for Bartolo Colon that sits 87 to 90 miles per hour.
And the first pitch to John Jay. Misses for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Jay in the air to left field. Joey Gallo looking up into that sun. Gallo back by the warning track made that one a little bit more difficult than it had to be.
Well, it's a high sun. And you see, of course, Joey Gallo's got the glasses, so the sun wasn't an issue because he's got them right now. And you see him kind of talking about what he saw on that spin, and now maybe a change of mind as far as what he's going to do.
But don't
with those glasses.
The glasses have to go on?
Well, right there, what you saw at the very end, right? If you watch that replay right there, you see his eyes are in the shade the entire time from his hat. It was at the last second when he looked up that he realized that, you know what, maybe I need to put these glasses on because the sun did indeed get in those eyes.
Whit Merrifield takes the first pitch, low and outside for ball 1. Joey Gallo can take a cue from those kids we saw with the Oakleys on right behind home plate.
It's better that they have them on. I see more kids leave them on their hats. Drives me crazy as a parent. You go to the field and, you know, it might be a night game, could be cloudy. Everyone's got their glasses on their hats, but not those guys. Well done, fellas.
2 balls and 1 strike here to Merrifield.
By the way, I blame Jose Batista for that. Remember the home run derby a few years ago, maybe more than a few years ago. He participated in the home run derby with the Oakleys on the hat the entire time. I swear the next day at every Little League park, there they were.
By the way, Gallo's glasses, they've stayed on top.
Well, he's got the eye black, and listen, he doesn't have them out there as a fashion statement. He's got to make a decision on whether or not he believes they're going to help, and he thinks he'll be better off without them.
3 balls and 2 strikes here to Merrifield, who's putting together a nice season. 289, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. The 3-2. In the air to right center field. Delano DeShields is over to make the catch, and they're quickly 2 away.
Let's take a look at the defense here for the Texas Rangers behind Bartolo Colon. In the outfield, you'll see Joey Gallo, Delano DeShields. Nomar Mazara is in right. And in the infield, you got the rookie Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at third. Jurickson Profar, Rougned Odor, another rookie at first, Ronald Guzman, and the recently acquired Carlos Perez behind the plate.
2 away here for Mike Moustakas, the matchup we talked about. And Moustakas, first pitch swinging, skies one to shallow left center field. Gallo coming in will make the catch. A 9-pitch inning for Big Sexy here in the top of the first. Smile as well. lineup for the Texas Rangers. Delano DeShields will lead things off, followed by Shin-Soo Choo. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa will bat third. Nomar Mazara in the cleanup spot. Jurickson Profar, Joey Gallo, Ruben Odor, and Ronald Guzman, Carlos Perez to face the right-hander Ian Kennedy. And the first pitch to DeShields is a fastball in the outside corner for strike one. DeShields on the season, 234, 2 home runs, and 7 RBIs. Salvador Perez going through the signs here for Ian Kennedy. DeShields to center field. Whit Merrifield is there, one away. The numbers on Ian Kennedy this year, they don't look very good. He got off to a pretty good start, but the last 3 outings have not been exactly what he'd hoped for.
No, it's been a struggle. The overall numbers not very good. You mentioned the last 3. It's got nearly an 11 ERA. Here is the pitch arsenal for Ian Kennedy. 55% fastball. He's got the changeup, the slider, the curveball. He'll mix in that 2-seam fastball every once in a while, and the fastball sits right around 92 miles per hour. But 8 of the 9 home runs he has allowed have come on fastballs this season.
First pitch to Shin-Soo Choo stands him up a little bit. 1 ball and no strikes. Choo on the season, 259, 7 home runs, and 22 RBIs. Two balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here to Choo. Bottom half of the first, no score. And that's outside, so 3 balls and no strikes.
You see that changeup from Ian Kennedy. That has been the most effective of his secondary offerings. Just a .095 batting average against that pitch. That is the lowest batting average against a changeup of any starter in the big leagues.
But a 4-pitch walk issued to Choo with 1 away here in the first. Time now for the Ford keys to the game.
I had a little Beatles fun today. Why not? All you need is glove if you're the Royals. Defensively, they have been very good this season. 4th best when it comes to errors. They shift the 2nd most in the game. The defense certainly very important for the Kansas City Royals. And then for the Texas Rangers, Choo be mine. Shin-Soo Choo has been on a really nice run over his last 11 games. Make it 12 straight now for him where he has reached base. The on-base percentage nearly 500 over that clip.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at the plate. Kiner-Falefa, his numbers 259, 2 home runs, 16 RBIs in 38 games for the Rangers. And CJ, you know this as well as anybody. I mean, he's turned himself into a really good story here for Texas.
He has been fantastic. Opportunity opened up for him with all the injuries that the Rangers have had in their infield. Currently no Adrian Beltre, no Elvis Andrus. Ruben Odor had missed some time, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa came into the season ranked as the Rangers' 27th best prospect. So he was pretty far down the list. Nobody really expected to see his name. The injuries opened up the opportunity, and he has run with it. Defensively, he has been fantastic. He's put together quality at bats and plays the game extremely hard.
Down the right field line towards the seats, and this will reach the seats. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kiner-Falefa. You talk about his defense. He flashed the leather last night in game 2.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is the Rangers were starting to convert him to a catcher, and now here he is as an infielder getting it done, and he's filled in very nicely. Listen, when you have a Hall of Famer at his out and you got to go play his position, the pressure is on a little bit, but you would never know it. You see right there in the highlights of what Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has done. That was just last night's game. That wasn't a compilation of what he's done so far. He has been excellent down at the hot corner.
Kiner-Falefa, you mentioned they were converting him to a catcher, but he's played short, 2nd, 3rd here in his time with the Rangers.
And so what's really nice about that too is, you know, it doesn't happen too often, but you do have to designate that 3rd emergency catcher, and a lot of times it's a guy that you probably don't want catching.
Nice change up there for strike 3.
Tough call right there for a rookie from the veteran. I mentioned the changeup and how good it has been for Ian Kennedy this season. You'll see this one right here. Looked like it might have finished in off the plate. Fox Tracks had it as a strike. Excuse me, had it as a ball, but Marvin Hudson had it as a strike.
2 away now. We'll bring up Nomar Mazara. Kennedy trying to get around that 1-out walk to Shin-Soo Choo. Salvador Perez thought about a snap throw back to first, and that pitch was called a strike, and Mazara can't believe it. So that's back-to-back pitches that the Rangers don't like the call from Marvin Hudson.
Take a look at this fastball at 90 miles an hour, and it was pretty close. I think maybe the movement from Perez made it look more like a ball than it actually was. Fox Tracks had that right on the corner.
That will be a ball as it stands up. Mazara, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Nomar Mazara has been a bright spot for the Rangers this season. You see the overall numbers there. 9 home runs already this month. That is second most in the American League. But all the numbers coming up, the power numbers for a guy that hit 20 home runs in each of the last 2 years. You see the 12 so far this year. That pace closer to 30 plus in 2018.
The 1-1 from Kennedy is pulled foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And you think about it, I mean, he's just 23 years old.
Yep, really young.
He's been in the big leagues now. This is his 3rd year.
Comfortable. Yeah, they call him the Big Chill, and it's based on kind of the personality. And you see where he ranks among players active under the age of 24. You talk about his age, and there he is across the board, right behind Carlos Correa in all those major categories. Pretty good guy to be behind. I think Carlos Correa is going to be a perennial MVP candidate over the course of his career.
And to put things into perspective, Nomar Mazara was born April 26th of 1995. Bartolo Colon made his major league debut April 4th of 1997.
It's amazing, and we've done that a lot over the course of the season. There are guys that were a month, 2 months old. We had Gleyber Torres in for the Yankees. Bartolo Colon faced him. I believe he was 3 months old when Bartolo made his debut, and he didn't care. He had 2 home runs anyway.
So what you're saying is he did not respect his elders.
He certainly did not. Although Bartolo hit him once too. But he didn't look up at him. So in that sense, I think maybe he took it a little bit. I don't think there was any intent behind it, but a fun moment between old and new. And you see Bartolo Colon a little different than every starter, right? Doesn't get locked into the corner and keep to himself. He doesn't mind having a conversation on game day.
Up high, 3 balls and 2 strikes. I mean, you even saw it when he got out of that first inning with 9 pitches. He walked off the mound with a smile on his face. When do you see a pitcher smile walking off the mound? Not very often.
He's got perspective. And this is not an unusual sight. That's Martin Perez right next to Bartolo Colon. It seems like every time you take a peek in that Ranger dugout, Martin Perez is right there with Bartolo Colon. He has really attached himself to him. Has been very interested. They got a nice friendship, but also from a baseball standpoint and a mentorship.
Runner goes on 3-2, and that'll be ball 4 to Mazara. 2nd walk of the inning. A walk to Choo, and now a walk to Mazara. 1st and 2nd for Jurickson Profar.
Let's take a look at the defense that is behind Ian Kennedy this afternoon for the Kansas City Royals. John Jay, Whit Merrifield, Jorge Soler in that outfield, and in the infield, Mike Moustakas, Alcides Escobar, Ryan Goins, Hunter Dozier at first, and Salvador Perez, who's been an absolute Iron Man for the Royals behind home plate doing the catching.
To me, he's the rock for the Royals. Behind the plate, so good. He's got the gold on the chest protector for a reason. Jurickson Profar, the switch hitting shortstop. First pitch swinging, pops one up. After a walk, Escobar. He is there to make the catch and end the inning. We're through 1, no score, Royals and Rangers. Top of the second, scoreless game. Salvador Perez leading things off against Bartolo Colon. At 86, it's in there for strike one. Perez on the season, 244, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs. 0-1 is high and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Five-time All-Star is Perez. Foul back, 1-2. How good has he been since 2013? This is where he ranks among catchers.
It's really been unbelievable. And go back to that World Series year and even the year before that when they went to a Game 7. The amount of innings that he caught, he set a record in Major League Baseball. Of course, the postseason is much longer now than it ever has been. But for those total innings, it's really tough to get him out of the lineup when he is healthy. He wants to play every day. We'll see whether or not they start him again tomorrow. Back-to-back day games here for the Rangers and the Royals. And as you mentioned, it's warm.
Ground ball to third base. Connor Falefa, 1 away.
Well, you know he's going to swing, and even for Perez to get that deep in the count, he probably starts to get a little bit uncomfortable. But Bartolo Colon, so masterful with that fastball. He's done a good job this year too. 50% ground ball rate for Bartolo Colon. That's a career best, up 7% from what you usually see from him. He's been right around kind of league average with the ground balls, but because there is so much two-seam fastball usage, that continues to go up. That's a great pitch for ground balls, and that's why the ground ball rate has gone up.
Jorge Soler quickly behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Soler, the right fielder, the everyday right fielder now for Kansas City. 0-2. That was just a staying alive type swing.
A little emergency hack there from Soler, who's got some fantastic sleeves on today. Now, you think that's a full undershirt or sleeves?
I'm going to go just sleeves.
Those are pretty sweet.
What do you think?
I'm going to tell you what I think, and you might think I'm crazy. I think those are actually socks. Because they have that, you know, Major League Baseball has that relationship with Stance, right? I believe that's what it's called, that sock company. You see a lot of guys, and they have that logo on there. And tell me if that's not what he has on his arms right there.
I don't think that's what he has on his arms.
No?
The logo might be, yeah.
They don't look the same? They're probably his sleeves.
1-2, goes down swinging. First strikeout for Colon.
Well, this is not a big part of Bartolo's game. You see that little slider right there, down and away, well located. And he understands that Soler is a guy who will expand the strike zone. 5.8 strikeouts per 9 for Bartolo this year. League average for 7's right around 8. He is all about throwing strikes and inducing weak contact. Swing and miss, not a big part of what Bartolo does.
Alex Gordon, first pitch, fouls it back. Gordon has the average at 270 for the season, 4 home runs and 10 RBIs. Good career numbers against Colon. But he is behind in the count, 0-2.
Alex Gordon did not like that call, and I will tell you right now, if Bartolo Colon can get that with somewhat consistency, that pitch that's a couple of inches outside, especially with the 4 lefties that are in the lineup tonight, excuse me, this afternoon, it'll be a good day for Bartolo Colon.
He goes right back out there, and this time Gordon, a veteran, not trying to chance it, fouls it back.
It's been a nice bounce back year for Alex Gordon. The last couple after he signed that deal to return to the Kansas City Royals did not go very well at all. It's good to see him kind of get it going again, back to where Royals fans remember him.
Too far outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, I mean, when he signed that deal, you thought this is good for the Royals. It's good for baseball to keep a guy who's a local, basically, hero. The 1-2 got him on the inside corner, looking with a 2-seamer. So back-to-back strikeouts for Colon to end the inning. We head to the bottom half of the second, no score. Getting a quote is easier than ever. And by Ford, going further so you can. Well, the Xfinity Racing Series from Charlotte, the coverage has resumed on FS2. The race will start in just a little bit. Joey Gallo leading things off here in the bottom half of the second. And Gallo takes the first pitch from Ian Kennedy for a ball. Joey Gallo has numbers that kind of befuddle you. As he launches this one up into the sky. Moustakas shading his eyes. Escobar comes over to make the catch for the first down.
That's back-to-back monster pop-ups to
Moustakas,
Escobar.
you see that? Escobar having some fun with Moustakas. Moustakas didn't want to take it from him.
I mean, this thing is way up there. It's a tough sky right now. You're looking into the sun, and Escobar actually has a little bit of a better angle as he comes in from the side. Moustakas not even looking, saying, yeah, go ahead. I mean, he's got the glasses, he's got the glove up. Let somebody else have to deal with that.
What was the launch angle on that?
About 78, 79 degrees.
Rougned Odor at the plate. Odor has been struggling. Hitting just 193 with a home run and 11 RBIs.
64, the official launch angle on that pop-up.
So you over-exaggerated is what you're saying.
I did. I wonder. That'd be a good one to find out. Highest pop-up. I mean, can you go? You should be able to go 90. You actually should be able to go more than 90, right? If you foul it like a pop-up to the catcher.
Yeah.
Should be more than 90, I believe.
Well, it depends. That's the angle of the ball, not the angle of the bat, right?
Good point. Yeah. Maybe it's tough. It probably would be pretty tough to get over 90 without it being a foul tip.
Yeah, I don't think you can launch one 90 degrees with your bat.
That always becomes a question too for me. Are we taking that angle based on the angle of the bat, or are we just saying perpendicular from the ground?
I think we're focusing too much on launch angles.
Where's the protractor when you need it?
No balls and 2 strikes. Here to Odor. And Odor to the shift. Nice backhand play by Goins for the second out.
With Ronald Guzman coming up, this is a good opportunity to introduce you to this young man who over his last 4 starts has hit 4 home runs. You see 8 RBIs as well. He's done an excellent job. He got an opportunity as well because of the injuries. The big tall left-handed hitter first baseman. He's got some power. He's made some adjustments already since he's been here in his stance, but pleasant young man, excited to be here, doing a really nice job for the Texas Rangers.
226, 6 home runs, and 20 RBIs for Guzman.
And essentially, the reason you see Joey Gallo in left field is because of what Guzman has done, and he's been here now and trying to figure this lineup out. The left field position was an issue last year for the Rangers to start the year before Delano DeShields took it over. Well, he's in center now, and after some juggling, they decided to essentially allow Joey Gallo to be that steady left fielder for the most part, and Ron Guzman playing first.
Certainly swinging a hot bat as of late. 5 home runs in his last 11 games. The 1-1 from Kennedy. Missing inside, 2 balls and a strike. You think about the young guys getting opportunities. It's Guzman, it's Kiner Falefa, Jurickson Profar playing a lot now. And it's nice to see. It creates some excitement here for the fans, seeing these young guys come up maybe ahead of schedule, with the exception of Profar, and performing. And then you combine that with Mazzara, who is young and still performing.
Well, it's interesting because you'll hear from Ranger fans sometimes and they get discouraged and they say, well, you know, what do we have in the minor leagues? And at the lower levels, there's some good things happening for the Texas Rangers. At the upper levels, they're a little bit more thin. The reason that is because these guys are here now and you get to see them on the field. And not everybody can be, you know, Ronald Acuna, who's been on fire with the Atlanta Braves. And there's some other young players, Gleyber Torres, some top prospects that are just killing it right from the get-go. There's been some good things happening, but not quite to that level just yet.
A 1-2-3 inning for Kennedy. No score at the end of 2. Starts here for future baseball stars. The 2018 Major League Baseball Draft. Coverage begins Monday, June 4th on MLB Network and MLB.com. Hunter Dozier will lead things off, and he takes the first pitch for a strike. So let's flash back to when you were drafted, a first-round pick, Mr. Nitkowski.
Yeah, I think I got a couple people fired because of that when it was all said and done. Yeah, I said if you're going to trick them on any day, trick them on draft day. It's a good time to trick some folks. No, it's a big moment for a lot of kids around the country. And, thinking about high school kids and college kids and what potentially could be right now. It's an exciting time, and it could be a little disappointing as well for some guys that either don't get drafted or go later than they expected. You know, I love that EK story. You ever talk to Eric Karros about the day he got drafted?
No.
Oh, it's a good one. That is a good one. Obviously went on to become a great big leaguer, but went a little lower than expected.
Rookie of the year, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, 6th rounder, became a rookie of the year. And so for some guys, you use that little chip on your shoulder, maybe prove people that you're wrong, that they were wrong. But no, it's a really, really exciting time. A lot of guys right now, and there's a pretty good crop. Actually, you know, I live in Atlanta, and there's like before the season started, it was like 3 kids from that area that they thought would go in the top 10, top 10 picks.
Wow.
Now it's changed a little bit since then, but there's a couple of big arms coming out of that area. A couple of high school pitchers. Seth Beer, who was with the Clemson Tigers, is expected to go in the 1st round. He is a local Atlanta product. It'll be fun. It's so different than all the other sports.
Oh,
you got to wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to wait. It's not like, hey, we'll see you, next year in the big leagues.
2-2 fouled away by Hunter Dozier.
But I like that what they've done with MLB Network and having the draft on TV. Try to draw some attention to it. We certainly pay much more attention to prospects than we ever have in our game, and it starts with the draft and player development.
Colon trying to retire the first 7 men he has faced here this afternoon. 2-2 up the middle. Profar makes the diving stop, but he'll have to eat this one. An infield single for Hunter Dozier, the first base runner of the game for the Royals.
I wasn't hit very hard, but it was hit in the right spot. You see Jurickson Profar is pulled over in the hole. Dozier hits it back up the middle. And Profar got to that ball, but he knew he was going to have no chance at throwing out Dozier.
Leadoff infield single here for Dozier brings up Ryan Goins. A check on Dozier, who has not attempted a stolen base yet in 11 games this year. The numbers on Goins: 262, no home runs, and 4 RBIs. On the outside corner, first strike. As a former pitcher yourself, how much fun is it to watch a guy like Bartolo Colon, who's not going to overpower you, but has that pinpoint location?
I think for any baseball fan, it's fun if you really kind of dig in, and there's certain guys you like to watch. Bartolo Colon is unique in that respect. His age makes it all the more fascinating as well. But think of like a guy like Kyle Hendricks with the Cubs, or your non-high velocity guys, Josh Tomlin. They're always fun to watch. Greg Maddux during his career, yeah, he used to throw hard in the beginning, but when he really settled in to the greatness of Greg Maddux, it was all about fastball command and his ability to put balls on the corner, just off the corner, move the ball in and out. And Bartolo Colon has that kind of fastball. And every once in a while he'll do that to you right there and pull the string. He knows, it seems like he just has such a knack for picking the right spots to do that. When do you go to the changeup? And a lot of times you think, well, that's not going to be near the bottom of the order, right? He's going to continue to throw a ton of fastballs like he always does. Don't try to think along. You're going to get yourself dig yourself a hole.
It's 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Goins. 2 strikeouts in the game for Colon. Slow ground ball. Profar has to go to first for the out. That was the only play. 1 away. Down to second goes Dozier. In time for a game break. Let's go back to L.A. and say hi to Kevin Burkhardt for the first time.
The shortstop, number 2, Alcides Escobar.
All right, thank you very much, KB. Back here in Arlington. 1 away. Runner on second now for Alcides Escobar. No score between the Royals and the Rangers. Escobar, 237, a home run, and 13 RBIs. Colon checks back at second. Escobar, first pitch, lines one to left. Gallo will come up, and he will make sure the runner holds at third. First and third after the single by Alcides Escobar.
Yeah, between how hard this ball was hit and the great arm strength of Joey Gallo, that is a smart hold of Dozier at third. There's a good look at the two-seam fastball. This one elevated a little bit, which gave Escobar that opportunity to line that ball in the left field, but it got there in a hurry. Dozier actually even waited just a little bit to make sure that Jurickson Profar had no chance of catching that line drive. A lot of people around here would love to see, just for fun, Joey Gallo get on the mound and let it fly a little bit. Was it Aaron Judge went 100 miles an hour the other day from the outfield? Wouldn't mind seeing him toe the slab.
John Jay, RBI single to left. 1-0. Royals take the lead here in the third. So after not giving up a hit or a walk in the first 2 innings, 3 hits now in this third inning and 1 run in.
Center fielder Whit Merrifield.
John Jay for me has been highly underrated over the last few years, and he gets himself a pitch that is up in the zone. That's twice now for Bartolo Colon, where pitches have been elevated unintentionally that have turned into base hits. But John Jay, since 2016, batting average at .293. That is 6th best among outfielders in all of baseball. Never would really think about putting him in that kind of company. Now, of course, he's a guy that doesn't slug very much. He's got the worst slugging of that crew.
You also wouldn't think .293 would be 6th best.
Yeah, that's true. Batting average, we're in a different spot now. I'm sorry, it's 4th worst slugging amongst the group at just .374.
Colon misses low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes here to Whit Merrifield. Merrifield flew out to center field his first time up. The Royals put together 3 hits in a span of 7 pitches against Colon to take the 1-0 lead. And now Merrifield has the 4th hit. Coming in to score will be Escobar. Heading to third base is Jay. He's being waved around. Profar's throw home, not in time. A 2-run double for Whit Merrifield, and it's 3-0 Kansas City.
Things turned quickly here for Bartolo Colon, who was locked in, but after back-to-back first pitch singles, now it's a 2-pitch at bat, and so within 4 pitches, 3 hits, and runs on the board now for the Kansas City Royals. Whit Merrifield has done a really nice job with this club, and you can see why. Joey Gallo doing everything he can to get that ball in, but not nearly in time to get John Jay.
And Whit Merrifield actually fell on his way to second.
Tuck and roll, keep going.
And now a spin and a throw back to second. Back in time is Merrifield. You talk about Whit Merrifield. We mentioned before Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, how versatile he's been. How about Whit Merrifield? I mean, you could put him virtually anywhere on the field for the Royals.
Well, it's amazing that they have him in center field. He hasn't played out there very much. He's played some outfield. It's a great job at second base. And he's another good story, kind of late bloomer, taking advantage of an opportunity. For 3 years, he was on the 40-man roster of the Kansas City Royals. Did not see the big leagues. And before the 2016 season, was exposed to waivers. Anybody could have taken this guy for virtually nothing. He was passed on by all 29 teams, signed back with the Royals, and since then has really taken off. Check this out right here. 20 home runs, 30+ stolen bases going back to the beginning of last year. Look at the names on that list. Whit Merrifield right in there with Trout, Betts, Tommy Pham, who's been incredible. Of course, the MVP, Jose Altuve. Very impressive company.
Moustakas takes the pitch down low. 2 balls and no strikes for Moustakas against Colon. The Royals 3 for 3 with runners in scoring position this inning. They've got 3 runs in the inning. 4 hits and still just 1 out. It's now 3 balls and no strikes to Moustakas.
Now this is something you don't see very often. Bartolo Colon really knows how to fill up the strike zone, and now they're going to go with the intentional walk.
I like that. I think that's a smart play right there. Got the lefty and Moustakas up and behind in the count 3-0. Save pitches, save making a mistake, and now face Salvador Perez with a chance for an inning-ending double play.
And for a guy that goes hacking early, and so if Bartolo Colon can locate that two-seam fastball or even the slider below the zone, there's a really good chance you'll get that ground ball pretty early.
Again, a look back to second, and Perez has grounded into 8 double plays on the season. Perez grounded out to third base his first time up. Colon trying to get out of this inning here, having already given up 3 runs. Line drive to left. Gallo able to make the catch. You can see he had trouble with it. A sinking line drive, but 2 away.
That ball was hit pretty hard. And once again, Bartolo Colon left the ball up. Salvador Perez all over it, but Joey Gallo was there. You see the top spin on that ball as it comes down pretty quickly. I mentioned the great command of Bartolo Colon. He's throwing strikes, but he's definitely elevating more than we're used to seeing from him, especially here in the 3rd inning.
2 away now for Jorge Soler. Struck out his first time up. The overall numbers on the season for Soler have shown improvement, been struggling as of late.
I thought Ned Yost had some pretty interesting things to say about Jorge Soler. His year last year comes over in a high-profile trade for Wade Davis and the Chicago Cubs, and felt some pressure. He felt that he had to really perform. He said when he was in the minor leagues and they sent him down a couple of times, he crushed it. The big league level, though, he looked a little bit stressed out, but this season has been a much different story.
Big swing there, 1 ball and 2 strikes. We saw him strike out on a slider his first time up. Wonder if Colon goes back to that slider here.
Well, he knows he can expand the zone. That has always been kind of the book on Jorge Soler. Leave that slider up, make a mistake, he can absolutely crush it, but away, off the plate, good chance for a swing and miss.
A step off first. Colon's 1-2. He goes to the slider but misses. And now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Colon gave up the infield single to Dozier to lead off the inning. A ground out by Goins, a single by Escobar. RBI single by John Jay, the 2-run double by Merrifield. And now he goes to an off-speed pitch to strike out Soler for the 2nd time today. But Whit Merrifield, a 2-run double, has given the Royals a 3-0 lead. We go to the bottom half of the third. 9-1-2 in the order to face Ian Kennedy. Carlos Perez takes the first pitch down low for ball one. Perez played in 8 games with the Atlanta Braves. 143, a home run and an RBI. On the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Carlos Perez spent 3 years with the Angels, did a nice job. Kind of a backup catcher there. Good catch and throw guy.
Breaking ball, hammer to left, but foul.
He crushes the ball, foul. Like you look at your backup catchers, and a lot of times they fall into 1 of 2 categories. Catch and throw means they're good defensively, or they can just really hit. And they can hit left-handed pitching a lot of times, or they hit, they hit, either left-handed pitching well, or they're a left-handed swinger. It's kind of, which direction you want to go. Carlos Perez has been much more of that catch and throw guy.
Stays 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Perez.
Because of course, if you could do both,
you're a starter.
You wouldn't be backup. And that's not a knock on him, just in general, as far as how the industry views the backup catcher position.
Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Who's the best hitting backup catcher that you can remember?
That's a good question.
Because almost all the time, they're really good defensively. 2-2 is swung and a miss. 3rd strikeout of the game for Ian Kennedy.
Ian Kennedy elevates here. You see it on the fastball up out of the zone, or right near the top of the zone. Gets Perez to chase. I'll give you a guy. You remember this? You're a Yankee fan. Todd Green was a guy who'd come off the bench and give you some pop. He had years of 14 home runs, 10 home runs. Of course, he was infamous for catching the George Bush fastball that year after 9/11. First ceremonial first pitch back in 2001.
Yeah, before Game 3 of the World Series.
But rarely do you see, in this, this day and age, of course, home runs are like crazy. It may not sound like a big number, but for your backup catcher to hit 14, which he did 1 year, it's a good number.
Good pitch by Kennedy. 1 ball and 1 strike to Delano DeShields. DeShields flew out to center field his first time up. Two balls and a strike here to DeShields. Squares around a bunt, and that'll be foul as Perez picks it up in foul territory.
That's a big part of Delano DeShields' game. You and I were talking off camera in the break about launch angle, getting the ball in the air. Delano DeShields, obviously bunting is one thing and using his wheels to his advantage. He's got tremendous speed, but just hitting the ball on the ground in general. He's got a near 400 batting average going back to the beginning of last season where he hits the ball on the ground. And not a guy that you want to see lift too often. He can hit you out of the ballpark once in a while. He'll pick his spots, but line drives, keeping the ball on the ground, using that speed to his advantage.
Ian Kennedy looking for his 3rd consecutive strikeout. DeShields stays alive. Download the app, play for free, start your streak, and compete to win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS. Another foul ball and a check swing here. It stays 2-2 to DeShields.
Delano, of course, missed some time, nearly a month, when he had the hamate injury back on March 31st. Had that hamate bone removed. Was activated on April 22nd. So just 3 games into the season, he had to go to the DL. So that's slowed his season down a little bit.
Line drive center field. Merrifield comes on and dives. And Merrifield able to keep it near him. If that one gets by him, that's an inside the park home run.
I was thinking the same exact thing. You got to pick your spots and when you take those chances. And if you take them with a guy like Delano DeShields, you better make sure you at least get a glove on the ball, because that might have been an inside the park homer. Had he missed it, you're going to see Whit Merrifield coming in, and he's positioned perfectly and coming straight in. That ball had a little bit of tail at the end. That was pretty close. And there's a lot of room behind him, and a great runner flat over the shields. Wow. That just caught the end of the glove. And that little extra effort right there keeps that a single.
Soler was coming in as well. It wasn't like Soler was going to back him up. If that one gets by him, the Shields just keeps on running. Instead, it's a single. And that is the first hit of the game for the Rangers.
And this is a fun matchup right here. Ian Kennedy has only allowed 1 stolen base, as you see Chu with the 14 walks, including today over his last 9. Delano's got great speed. Salvador Perez has been fantastic throwing out potential base stealers.
Off-speed pitch in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, with this modified shift that the Royals have on, Escobar is almost right behind the bag at second base. Does that make it more difficult to steal because it's so easy for him to get to second?
Well, rarely will your middle infielders be late anyway. Now, if they were spread out a little bit differently, he has to be there because of Delano DeShields, and has to make sure he stays close and can beat him.
Under the glove of Dozier, but right there is Goins to retire Chu. Down to second base goes to Shields.
Third baseman Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
So call that a 3-4-3. Yep. Dozier slowed it down. So this is interesting here for the Texas Rangers. They have not seen Ian Kennedy very much, and when they haven't done very much damage. You see Nomar Mazara, Joey Gallo, a combined 0 for 16. Chu with just a couple of base hits in his 13 at bats. Rougned Odor has struggled as well, and so Ian Kennedy has had some success against his current Texas Rangers lineup.
Kiner-Falefa, first pitch off the end of the bat to left field. They're going to wave around to Shields. He will score easily as Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has a 2-out RBI single here in the third to make it a 3-1 game.
A lot of people might be surprised that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hits third in this lineup when you have some big bats like Nomar Mazara, Joey Gallo, Rougned Odor. But this guy's got a knack for hitting, and he catches this slider just off the end of the bat, but does enough to get it through the left side. We talk a lot of times about situational hitting, how guys are approaching their at-bats with runners in scoring position. And Kiner-Falefa does not let that slider go by with Delano DeShields on second base.
Well, now all of a sudden you bring a tying run to the plate in the form of Mazara. We just showed you the graphic. He has yet to have a hit against Ian Kennedy. Now would be a great time for one. A guy who's got 12 home runs on the season. Walked his first time up. Pulls it foul. 0-1. Nice job by Steve Buechele down there at first base, jumping out of the way.
Got to be quick. Base coaches, umpires, got to be on your feet.
No balls, 1 strike here to Mazara. A big swing, 0-2.
And you see Mazara offering it that high fastball. He has been very good on the fastball up. This 91-mile-an-hour fastball 4-seamer gets by him. Looked like maybe that bat slipped out of his hand a little bit. You saw the way he reacted. No, he had it just at the very end of the swing.
That was a Patrick Reed follow-through like at the Masters. The helicopter finish. No balls and 2 strikes here to Mazara. Stays alive.
And, you know, kind of tying into that conversation about launch angle, Nomar Mazara is different than most. I mentioned he's pretty good on fastballs up, and then for hitters that have at least 10 home runs, he's got the lowest launch angle of the group at just 4.5 degrees. So what does that mean? It's low. And point being is that he's just not a guy that gets under the ball, is trying to lift. He'll hit you some home runs. You saw the pace. He had 20 each of the last 2 years. He's ahead of that pace by a significant margin this year. But it's not because he's trying to lift and separate and hit the ball in the air. He's a very good line drive hitter to all fields.
Breaking ball, fouled away. I like the last 2 swings by Mazara. He's got 2 strikes on him. They haven't been pitches that he could drive, and he's just trying to foul them off to stay alive.
It's almost a little bit of a throwback in that regard, right? The state of the game now, we see monster swings with 2 strikes even with runners in scoring position, there still are some guys that are trying to put the ball in play. Yes, strikeouts are up. There's some guys that get it, still like to be short to the ball.
Another 0-2 pitch. And this one actually catches the hand of Marvin Hudson. It'll be a wild pitch. Down to second base goes Connor Falefa. And you can see Marvin Hudson flexing the hand.
This breaking ball was well in front. Salvador Perez tried to backhand it. He couldn't get it, and it was one hop and caught that right wrist. Marvin Hudson, that could not have felt good. Good job by Connor Falefa, zero hesitation.
So a runner now in scoring position with 2 outs. And with Connor Falefa going down to second, that allows Dozier to back up at first. Give himself a bit more range against the lefty and Nomar Mazara. A spin, a throwback to second base. Connor Falefa was leaning towards third. He was able to get back. That throw was on the wrong side of second. If that's on the third base side of second, that could be close.
Yeah, it was close, and he wasn't going anywhere. He's just working on that secondary lead a little bit, thinking about trying to score on a base hit, which he should easily be able to do in this situation with a couple of outs.
1-2 is inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A really good at bat right here by Nomar Mazara. Fell behind 0-2, fouled off a couple of tough pitches, and now has fought back to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And for Texas, just to be able to answer back with at least 1 run in the inning after giving up 3 in the top half of the inning, that's a good thing.
You certainly want to change that momentum after the 3 spot.
Off the end of the bat, going to be a tough play. Moustakas, he won't make any play. Connor Falefa, though, got too big of a turn at third base. Now he gets hung up in a rundown. Kennedy runs him back to the bag, and that's where he'll be tagged out. So a mental mistake there by Connor Falefa ends the inning between third and home, but it's 3-1 Royals. As Isaiah Connor Falefa made the final out of the inning in a rundown between third and home. First pitch to Alex Gordon, lined out into the shift for Jurickson Profar.
We're going to show you, we'll show you this replay and kind of what happened here as far as the base running. Look at Isaiah Kiner-Falefa as he goes. I think he made the assumption that Mike Moustakas was going to try to make this play at first base, and so it was an aggressive turn, thinking that he probably could score in that spot, but instead Moustakas did not throw the ball. And so ultimately what they end up doing there is getting Kiner-Falefa in that rundown. But I think it was an assumption made at that point on the slow roller that the throw was going to happen, and Nomar Mazara had a pretty decent chance at beating it out, and he wanted to try to turn that into a run. It's an aggressive play, but Mike Moustakas, the smarter player in that spot, realizing he didn't have a play at home, he just held on to the ball and checked the runner.
And to me, again, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is a young guy. If that ball is in front of you as it was, you have to be able to read how hard it was hit off the bat and start thinking to yourself, you know what, he may eat this ball. He may not throw it. I got to at least look back to see what the play is going to be.
Well, you never want to look over your shoulder. But that's your third baseman's job, your third base coach's job. As you're running, you never look over your shoulder to find the ball. Once it's past you, you trust your base coaches in that spot. Now you have a judgment decision to make, and the judgment decision there is based on the speed of the ball. One, do I think that he's going to beat it out? Is the throw going to go to first base? And would I have a chance to score based on that? My guess is he believed that the ball was going to first, and he wanted to try to be aggressive and score. But I would never want a base runner to look over his shoulder once he's passed the ball.
So I'm not saying look back once he's passed the ball. I'm saying as he's rounding third base, knowing the situation, you take a glance and you could either see if he's made the throw to first base, and that's how you know you can go, or he hasn't made the throw to first base.
I mean, he still has to turn his head, so he's going to take full speed to go. Now, you can trust and make the decision, like I said, Tony Beasley in that spot, which he allowed Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to kind of make his own decision. It's a tough spot, and it's a really smart play by Mike Moustakas, because Mike Moustakas is a pretty aggressive player, and you would think as he's coming in and almost essentially playing shortstop at that point and thinking, I got to hurry up and make this play. I think that's what Kiner-Falefa was banking on, but a really heads-up play by Mike Moustakas not to throw that ball and then to pick up the runner.
One away after the walk here to Hunter Dozier.
And I'll tell you this too, knowing Jeff Bannister, and you spent plenty of time talking with him as well, at this level and the situation that the Rangers are in right now, you would much rather guys make aggressive mistakes than be timid. You learn a lot by making mistakes. You don't want to make them at the big league level. That is a situation where your average minor league third baseman is probably trying to make that throw to first, and it's a smart play to try to score. Have a little bit better feel for maybe what different infielders will be doing at the big league level.
Again, a throw back to first base, and back in safely is Dozier.
You can live with aggressive mistakes, mental mistakes, dumb mistakes, right, where you maybe don't have your head in the game. That's something that deserves a little bit of a talking to and reviewing, but aggressive, that's something you can work with.
Goins fouls the pitch back. No balls and one strike. Goins grounded out to shortstop his first time out. One away, top of the fourth, 3-1. Royals lead the Rangers. Bartolo Colon on the mound here for Texas. Just missing outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
So Ian Kennedy was unable to have that shutdown inning for the Royals in the bottom of the third. This will be important here for Bartolo Colon. We talk about momentum within the game, and on a warm day like today, after that long top of the third inning, a quick one here from Colon. Trying to get that Ranger offense back in the dugout would be welcomed.
High and outside, 2 balls and a strike. We mentioned how Colon turned 45 on Thursday. He began his career with the Cleveland Indians, and you know, we talk about trades, trading a veteran for young guys. How is it going to pan out? When he was traded from the Indians to the then Montreal Expos, think about the players who were dealt from the Expos to the Indians. It was Colon and Tim Drew for Lee Stevens, and the prospects were Cliff Lee, Brandon Phillips, Grady Sizemore.
Some pretty good players in that group, and gives you an idea too of what was thought of Bartolo Colon at the time, and a couple of guys that really came into their own. Cliff Lee, things changed kind of dramatically for him as he kind of moved on in his career and became an unbelievable starter at the big league level. But at the time with the Indians, Wasn't quite there just yet. Brandon Phillips is pretty young in his career.
The trade happened on June 27th of 2002. The funny thing is that those guys were all prospects, and he has outlasted all those prospects. The 2-2 from Cologne. Rolled over to first base. Nice play by Guzman to take the high bounce. Back to first, not in time. Nearly a 3-6-3 double play, but that was really well played by the youngster at first.
And a good aggressive play, too. A lot of times you see this with first basemen. If they don't like the angle of the throw, if they don't think they have a lane, they'll just take the out at first. And you see Guzman coming in a little bit. And because he had to come in, he has a great angle to second base and a tremendous stretch. We have seen him here in Texas go full split, Mark Teixeira style, a couple of times. Not quite all the way there on this one, but a pretty tremendous effort to try to make that happen.
I also love how he came up to feel that high hop before it took a second bounce. 2 away now for Alcides Escobar, who singled and scored last inning. Nice off-speed pitch there by Cologne. 0-1. The Royals got 3 runs in the third. The Rangers got 1 back in the bottom half of the inning. And now 2 outs and a runner on first here in the fourth. Cologne has been very focused on the runners on base today.
He's not allowed a stolen base all year. So that's certainly something that's important to Bartolo Colon, keeping guys close, not allowing any runners to take advantage. Carlos Perez has done a good job. He's thrown out 1 of 3 potential base stealers, excuse me, 2 of 3 potential base stealers this year.
Cologne misses down low. 1 ball and 1 strike. You can see him change up his timing, go to the slide step. He has that short arm delivery as is, which might be one of the reasons why he's been able to pitch until he's 45.
His arm path is definitely an interesting one. Get a good look at it right here.
Another good off-speed pitch. 1-2.
The changeup looks good so far here for Bartolo Colon. As much as we talk about the fastball, we showed you the repertoire coming in for him. 83% of the time he throws fastballs, or has at least up to this point in the season.
Colon at 64 pitches here in the fourth inning. Again, a throwback to first.
So I mentioned that number, 83% on the fastball. So far this afternoon, just 69%. Slider usage and changeup usage is way up here through 3 2/3.
The 1-2 from Cologne. Ground ball to short. Profar will go to second for the force out, and that will do it here in the top half of the fourth. Still 3-1 Royals. do, you find shade.
Yes, you do.
3-1, bottom half of the fourth here in Arlington, Texas.
It's a big league move right there.
Yeah, Jerickson Profar will lead things off against Ian Kennedy. And he'll take the first pitch fastball for a strike. Profar popped out to short his first time up. Inside, 1-1. So CJ and I have been talking about launch angle a lot today, having some fun with it and wondering what's the highest launch angle we've seen, what's the highest launch angle we could have. My question to CJ during the commercial break, fouled back 1-2, was what is the highest launch angle, as Salvador Perez is a bit shaken up after that foul ball, for a home run
this year.
And you were able to find the answer.
Bam, bam, bam. That is a terrible picture of me. Good gracious. So Charlie Blackmon.
That was taken during the open.
I mean, it looks like, is the sun setting on the right side of my face? But Charlie Blackmon went 45.1 degrees back on May 18th for a home run. So I think that's the one we're looking for. That's Baseball Savant, by the way. Good website to check out. Lots of information if you like to get a little nerdy the way I do.
Were you a nerd in school?
No, I wasn't smart enough to be a nerd. But I tell you what, it's a little intimidating. It's a great website to do fantastic work, tied in with MLB.com, all the great work they did do there, the new information that we have. The first time I went to that website like 2 years ago, I was like, oh, no way, I couldn't do it. It was too much.
So I think what you're saying is you just play a nerd on TV.
That's right. That's exactly right. You got to ease your way into some of this stuff. And I probably use about, I don't know, 15% of what's available on there. They get pretty deep.
Profar lines one into right center field. Soler trying to cut it off. He won't get there. Profar, he's going to turn and try for 3. And Profar will make it easily. A leadoff triple here in the 4th inning for Jerickson Profar. His 3rd triple of the year.
The Rangers have been very happy with Jerickson Profar. He's gotten a great opportunity with the injuries that have happened in the infield, and he really has taken advantage. Look at the 4-seam fastball right down the middle. And Profar hits himself that nice line drive that otherwise would have been a base hit, but the fact that it was in the gap, and it's a big gap out there in right center field here at Globe Life Park, turns that into a triple. Things really starting to come together for Jerickson Profar, who back in 2012-13 was the consensus #1 overall prospect in baseball. Got to the big leagues at 19 years old, had to deal with some injuries. And I think people forget he's only 25 years old.
That's the whole thing.
He's got time left. Plenty of time.
And that was one of the topics I covered with his manager Jeff Bannister today, was how do you keep him with perspective? As Gallo launches one to right center field. This one is off the wall. Coming in to score is Profar. You could see the smile on his face looking at that, being like, what? An RBI double for Joey Gallo, his 8th double of the year, 32nd RBI, and it's a 1-run game.
And probably the longest double you can hit in this ballpark. And for Ranger fans, when they see Joey Gallo take this kind of swing and hit the ball that high in the air, they're used to watching those baseballs go over the fence. And even Joey Gallo thought that one was going, and caught by surprise a little bit that it hit the top of the wall.
Everybody was surprised. The guys in the bullpen were surprised. Profar's surprised. I'm surprised.
We're used to seeing a lot of those balls like that going into the upper deck here in Arlington.
It's an RBI double, nobody out for Rougned Odor, who's going to square around to bunt. He'll get the bunt down. Kennedy goes to first, down to third goes Gallo. Time for a game break. Let's go back to LA and check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Thank you very much, KB, as you are nice and cool in the studio in LA.
As if it's any worse if he stepped outside.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of rubbing it in a little bit. That was a dig. I could tell by his tone.
Runner on third, infield in. With Ronald Guzman at the plate, takes the first pitch for a ball. Guzman struck out his first time up as the Royals are trying to cut down this run and keep a one-run lead. Up and in, 2 balls and no strikes.
Guzman 219 with runners in scoring position so far this year. And it's interesting, you look at what's happening from a defensive standpoint. The infield is in right now. The outfield, for the most part, is straight up. You see Whit Merrifield shaded a little bit toward left, but Ronald Guzman pulls 81% of the balls that he puts in play. That is the second highest in baseball. So it's kind of surprising not to see the Royals shifted more to the right side. Now they're going to walk him and just go ahead and put him on first base.
The intentional walk after falling behind 3-0. Now Carlos Perez will come to the plate, and that'll back up the middle infield to try to set up the inning-ending double play.
And I think what you saw with that sacrifice bunt from Rougned Odor is kind of the combination, because he has attempted to bunt for a hit quite a bit. He's a guy that gets shifted a lot. He's had some struggles this year, and he's brought the bunt back into his game. That was one of those can't-lose situations. You go for it, you try to get the base hit. If it turns into a sack, so be it. You move the runner over to third, but here's how you counteract that. At the bottom of the order, walk the 8-hole hitter to face the 9-hole hitter.
Now a safety squeeze put on, diving play by Dozier, and back to third base goes Gallo. Nice play by Hunter. Dozier coming in, charging hard. 2 away.
This is a really nice play and good hops by Dozier, and it is the safety squeeze. Joey Gallo at third just has to see the baseball down. That is not a suicide squeeze where the runner at third takes off, and really nice play there by Dozier. And seeing the ball in the air, of course, obviously a mistake in that situation, but also that it's even close to the line. For a safety squeeze, you just want to get that ball down. You're not necessarily shooting for the lines and trying to execute a perfect bunt. Joey Gallo's got good speed. He had a good secondary. Anything that was down, he would have scored on.
2 outs now. Runners on the corners for Delano DeShields, who's singled and scored back in the third. First pitch pops one up. First base, foul territory. Dozier over by the wall will make the catch to end the inning. But the Rangers get one back. It's a 3-2 game at the end of 4. By Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Top of the order here in the 5th to face Bartolo Colon. John Jay Takes the first pitch down low for ball one. Jay had an RBI single in the third and flew out to left field to open up the ball game. Ground ball to first base, handled by Guzman. One away.
Center fielder Whit Merrifield.
Time for our Boost Mobile, flipping the switch.
Take a look at Whit Merrifield and this ball that he hit back in the third inning, that 2 RBI double. Big spot that drove in 2 and 3 for the Kansas City Royals, and that's where they stand right now with that 3-2 lead.
One out for Merrifield. Pitch is low and outside for ball one. The pinpoint accuracy with the location for Bartolo Colon has not been there today. Popped up, third base. Connor Falefa now in foul territory. 2 away.
Now you're right, it hasn't been the better version of Bartolo Colon, but he's out there battling too. That's the one thing. We talk about that all the time with pitchers in general, but especially starting pitchers. There are going to be those days, and Bartolo Colon knows this as good as anybody, where you're not going to quite feel where you're at your best. You make 30 starts over the course of the season, you're just not going to feel that great for all 30. The question becomes, for the ones where you're just kind of stuck in between, can you still compete? Can you find a way to battle? Can you make a big pitch when you have to make it? Bartolo Colon, for the most part, has been able to do that. See the pitch count for him now at this point at 70 through 4 2/3, and so it's been a little bit of a battle, but the pitch count is right in line, and he's kept his team in this game.
Inside, 1 ball and 1 strike, and that to me is one of the big issues in baseball today. Is a lot of teams won't let pitchers battle through some adversity and learn how to win or battle without your best stuff.
I agree. It's a really important point. Development of players, and there's a lot of protection of pitchers now more than ever, right? Third time through the order, having guys, when they're down in the minor leagues, not pushing them to well over 100 pitches, and you can never expect them to do that at the big league level if that's how you develop them. That's kind of where the game is at right now.
Another pop-up coming in from third. Connor Falefa makes the catch in foul territory, so an 8-pitch inning for Colon. We're through 4.5, 3-2 Royals. Isaiah Connor Falefa will bat second in the inning following Shin-Soo Choo, who is 0 for 1, a walk, and he grounded into The ever popular 3-4-3 is last time up. And a slow breaking ball misses for ball 1 to Chu. Up high, 2 balls and no strikes. We showed the graphic during the last at bat to end the 5th inning with Moustakas at the plate, but 5.5 innings per game. That is what Major League Baseball starters are averaging this year, the lowest in history. And it's now 3 balls and no strikes. But again, CJ, you being a pitcher, I mean, this is troublesome on so many different levels for me as a fan. I can't imagine what it's like for you as a pitcher.
I would have been happy averaging 5.5 innings. For being honest.
Chu thought he had ball 4, instead a strike called by Marvin Hudson.
And you know, for Chu, he is a guy that knows the strike zone extremely well, has had a great on-base percentage. He's not out there trying to show up an umpire or doing that because he was a strike, but he thought maybe he could get it called a ball. He honestly thought that that pitch was a ball. And it was not.
Fouled back, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
But yes, it is an interesting trend. It's somewhat troubling, but the reality is, I think as fans, we just have to come to grips with it. It's not going to change, because it's not going to change, because teams, I mean, how many guys have we seen that get pulled out of games working on a no-hitter or a one-hitter, and that's discouraging. I want to see those moments happen. I'm with you. I want to see it. Did you see Doug Fister there, Jeff Bannister? But, you know, for me, I just kind of come to grips with it because teams are now seeing the value of relievers. They're paying relievers now. They understand that value. They're not afraid to give a setup man $8 million a year. They're not afraid to carry that extra pitcher down the bullpen because they're going through. The Dodgers have really been on the forefront of this. 3rd time through the order has been an issue. They don't want to let their starters do it.
Okay, but fine. Look at what the Dodgers are doing this year.
Sure, they're
struggling. 23 and 27.
But they were a World Series team last year.
They were a World Series team last year, but now their bullpen is spent.
They've had some issues. Obviously, the Kershaw injury and guys not performing.
Chu now strikes out after he thought he had a 4-pitch walk to open the inning.
Listen, I'm with you. I would love to see starters go deeper in games. I just think organizations, generally most of them, have come to that conclusion that they think over the long term they're better off, especially as they develop these younger starters, that they're just not going to let them do it. I'm with you, though, but I'm just telling you where the game has gone, and I don't think you and I are going to be able to change that.
Well, let me ask this question as Kiner Falefa steps in, had an RBI single his last time up. With starters going shorter and shorter, and the use of the bullpens being ever more prevalent, what do you think about cutting back from a 5-man rotation to a 4-man rotation?
And then having your starters throw more?
Just throw 5 innings. I mean, why are you paying all these guys to be starters when they're not lasting that long?
I think if you get all of your starters on that program, Clayton Kershaw, Madison Bumgarner are still going to go long, right? Madison Bumgarner, when healthy, is still going to try to give you 115, 120 pitches, and he's going to try to complete a game. And Bruce Bochy's going to allow him to do that. That would be pretty tough for him to recover on 3 days rest in between. And if anything, the reality is, based on the trends that we're seeing in the game, we're going to go to a 6-man rotation before we go to a 4. It's going in the opposite direction. I understand what you're saying and trying to maximize that value, but we also saw league average starters this past free agency period make less money, right? Andrew Casher type guys that you kind of put in your rotation, were not getting the top dollar that we may have thought they were going to get. So the value of those average starters, league average starters, is going down.
Called foul. Stays 1-2 to Kiner Falefa.
But I get what you're saying, man. I mean, like the Max Scherzers of the world, right? The guy that, you know, for Dave Martinez and for all those other managers that he's had in the past, hated taking him out of games because you're going to get a mouthful from him every single time because this guy expects to finish the game that he starts.
But those guys that you mentioned, whether it's Kershaw, Verlander, Bumgarner, Scherzer, 2 balls and 2 strikes, those guys, Kluber, are few and far between. There aren't more than 5 to 7 of those in all of Major League Baseball.
No doubt. Cole Hamels right there sitting next to his pitching coach, Doug Rocaille. When the conversation had come up, Mike Minor goes back into the rotation here with the Rangers after being a reliever all last year. They talked about maybe 6-man rotation. He had 0 interest in that whatsoever. He said that's just not the way that was brought up. He wasn't being argumentative in the sense where he's being disrespectful. I think Jeff Bannister and the Rangers really appreciated the competitive attitude he took toward the idea of pitching less. He wasn't interested. And so the Rangers have tried to work around that and make sure that he's out there on what would be considered regular rest for him. He is a throwback in that regard.
Lines back to Kennedy, who makes the catch. Wow. And now he can take a deep breath.
Always a little scary off the bat. I don't think it was hit as hard as it looked. I think kind of Falefa got a little bit jammed there. But still, as a pitcher, that gets on you pretty quick. And at this point, you really just kind of become a hockey goalie, and it's self-preservation, just trying not to get hurt. Luckily, that was in a spot where he could make the catch.
You could see him. He even had enough time to kind of alter his glove. As that was hit just at 70 miles per hour, which obviously when you're in a fielding position, it's still a bit nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah. The swing looks big. That ball is coming right at you.
2 away now for Nomar Mazara.
I think overall, though, we're just in that in-between phase right now as we figure this out. I don't know if we're going to raise aces anymore, going forward. I think of, you go through the young pitchers in the game, the young good ones right now, and how many are really going to be given the Justin Verlander treatment. It's not going to be very many, if any at all. I think organizations get scared to do that, even with their best arms. They're bringing them through the system.
No more Nolan Ryans.
Forget about that. I mean, that ship sailed a long time ago.
I heard Verlander tell a great story about his rookie year, 2006, with the Tigers, and Jim Leyland came out, and he said to him, "This is your game. I don't have anybody out there that's better than you right now." Mazara fouls it back, 2-1.
Well, the reality is that if a bullpen is built to contend, a team is built to contend, they will have an arm that's better out there, that's fresher. And it doesn't even necessarily mean your closer or your first setup guy. These bullpens run really deep right now, and it's tough on those guys as far as how much they have to work. But I think teams are starting to see the value of that, and say give it another, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and the complete games might be down to 0 in this league.
3 balls and a strike here to Mazara. What about if they were to put a limit on the number of pitchers you can have on a staff?
Yeah, I don't love that part for me personally, as far as the commissioner's office stepping in, because the day that you're really thin in your pen and your starter gets knocked out in the second inning that game, and all of a sudden you're forcing other guys to pitch because you're short on pitchers, you could change guys out, but that would cause more guys to get sent down and other guys to get called up because you're only allowed to have a certain amount of pitchers. I think that kind of puts you in a spot where you're making more roster moves than you maybe want to make.
I can remember Greg Maddux late in his career, just the bullpen was used up and he just kind of had to wear it in a start, and he did it.
Yep.
And sometimes the starter just has to take it.
He does. Doesn't happen nearly as much. It'll happen to a guy who's maybe not a priority. And the reality is that not all guys are treated the same way on a roster. You're not going to let your young stud do that. Luis Severino, I know he's done it a little bit at times already, but using him, say, as an example, but maybe your 3rd or 4th starter who's 30 years old, who's not a prospect, and you're not in for a ton of money on, he may have to stay out there and give up an 8 or a 10 spot.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Mazara, 2 away here in the 5th. And Mazara fouls it back again. Lengthy at bats this inning by Chu, Kiner Falefa, and now Mazara. This is going to be the 8th pitch of the at bat. The first 2 batters each went 7 pitches.
He's done a nice job, Nomar Mazara. This year has been a good one for him.
Another 3-2. Is just fouled out of the mitt of Salvador Perez.
So how about this, kind of along the lines of what you're saying? In the year 2000, 234 complete games. Last year, 59. This year we're up to 19 already, but I think we're probably within a decade of seeing single digits, and it's going to be extinct at some point.
And I don't think that's progressing in a positive direction.
No, we love seeing them. We certainly do it. You'll get a chance if you can keep it under 100, 105 pitches. With all the strikeouts in the game and the walks, it might be difficult to do.
Fouled into the seats, 3rd base side. 6 foul balls this at bat by Nomar Mazara. The 10th foul ball of the day from Mazzara. See, we keep track of everything.
That's right.
That's speed.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying before when we were talking about Nomar Mazzara's swing and how different it is with 2 strikes. How many hitters that we see in the game who take the all or nothing approach have struck out already or popped up?
And how many guys who are hitting cleanup take the approach that Nomar Mazzara is doing?
Too many. A lot of those hitters end up hitting two-hole spot now, right? Mike Trout, Joey Votto.
3-2 to center field. Merrifield going back by the warning track at the wall, makes the catch. A nice play by the utility man, Whit Merrifield, out there in center field to take extra bases away from Mazzara. It's still a 3-2 ball game. Bartolo Colon to face Salvador Perez here in the 6th inning, and he starts him off with a strike. Perez 0 for 2 as he lined out to left field his last time up on that sinking liner, which Joey Gallo was able to catch. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Check swing, foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, this summer, the 2018 FIFA World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1 with every match live and over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th. Perfectly played up the middle. Odor for the out. 1 away.
So I thought this was interesting. We mentioned guys making adjustments as they go along, as they get a little bit older. Bartolo Colon certainly has done that. Go back to 2011, just 42% usage on that 2-seam fastball. Now it's up to 68%. And it's interesting that it's completely opposite of what we're seeing in the game. Fastball usage is down almost 10% over the last decade. But for Bartolo Colon, as his velocity goes down, his 2-seam fastball usage has gone up. We talk about CC Sabathia, Felix Hernandez, right? Some studs that used to throw really hard as their velo has come down. They throw their fastball less. CC's done a great job with that slider and kind of reinventing himself a little bit. Well, Bartolo's angle has been more fastballs with excellent command, more 2-seam fastballs, and hitting your spots and getting guys to hit the ball on the ground. I mean, so much of what he does is kind of opposite or countercultural with what everybody else is doing.
You know, it's funny because you mentioned, I mean, Bartolo Colon, when he came up, he was a flamethrower. And a couple years ago, I got a chance to talk to him about that 2-seam fastball. And he said when, I think it was maybe his rookie year or second year during spring training, Greg Maddux pulled him aside They weren't on the same team, but Maddox pulled him aside and said, hey, you might want to fool around with this. And he didn't do it then, but he kept it in his head. And obviously now he's using that two-seamer a ton.
That last pitch was a perfect example of that backdoor two-seamer at 87 miles an hour. Starts off the plate, comes back and catches the corner. There it is again at 88. And he wanted strike 3 right there because that was a really, really good pitch. This ball is a ball out of the strike zone the entire way. And that's what's amazing is the movement that he still gets. You can't teach that. You can talk about manipulating finger pressure and trying to turn the ball over a little bit, but it's not that easy for a lot of guys to do. And the movement that he gets on the opposite of his arm side, away to right-handed hitters, is incredible.
The 3-2 to Soler. In the air, right field. Mazzara on the run, reaches up to make the catch. And Bartolo, hey, that means we got to give you a two-handed ovation there.
Well, good job by Nomar Mazzara here, timing this ball and this leap perfectly to pull it in and get a nice look at it here. And Soler probably knew that Bartolo was going to go away. He didn't want to give him a chance to pull anything. That's kind of that weird cutout and glove off, and that is about as much emotion as you will see from Bartolo Colon in any one game.
Alex Gordon chases the high fastball. Colon has gone 5 2/3 innings. You think about it, he gave up 3 runs in the 3rd. He gave up 4 hits in that 3rd inning. He hasn't given up a hit in any other inning. And he doesn't have his best stuff. He's at 85 pitches.
He's really looked stronger as he has gone along. And this guy that's gone deep into some games this year for the Texas Rangers. He's got 4 games of 7 or more innings pitched of the 8 starts that he's made. So in half of his starts, he's gone at least 7 innings. But the pitch count has never gone over 100. Got all the way up to 99 in one start against the Yankees. His last start on the 21st of May.
Tried the breaking ball there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gordon.
It's right there. 87 so far, averaging 93 per start. He did allow 4 home runs in that start to the Yankees. That's the 2nd start this year in which he's allowed 4 home runs.
Gordon just able to foul off the off-speed pitch.
1 to the Red Sox and 1 to the Yankees. 2 teams that are swinging it pretty well this year.
Colon has allowed 13 home runs on the season. But trying to get through 6 innings right now. And he will. Freezing Gordon. 92 on the gun. Another 1-2-3 for Colon. It's 3-2 Royals. Or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. A new pitcher into the game here for the Royals. It is the right-hander Brad Keller, appearing on his 21st game. A 1.77 ERA. 13 strikeouts to 6 walks, and he faces Jurickson Profar to open up the 6th inning.
Yeah, this guy's got a good arm. You saw that 94 miles an hour right there. The fastball will sit mid to upper 90s. Slider. He's got the changeup as well. Interesting, though, you see that high velocity, good movement, but doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. Just a 5.8 strikeout per 9 rate. That is well below league average. High ground ball rate, 61%. And he's one of these righties that does a very nice job against left-handed hitters. 185 batting average against lefties.
Profar tripled and scored his last time up, and now he hits one to shortstop. Escobar has to backhand it and makes the play to retire. Profar one away. You can see we talked about the short arm delivery of Bartolo Colon. Brad Keller is the exact opposite.
Long limbed, if that's a word. And he creates unbelievable spin rate. That's another kind of metric that you hear a lot about Major League Baseball right now. He's got great spin rate on that fastball, which is surprising that he doesn't get more swings and misses.
Gallo had the RBI double in the 4th to score Profar. Just missed a game-tying home run.
How about Joey Gallo, though, squaring to bunt? Mike Moustakas is in your standard shortstop position right now. A lot of conversation here around the Rangers from the beginning of the season. Would Joey Gallo attempt to bunt?
Again, shows it. Pulls it back, 1-1.
That's frustrating right there. There's a good look at the shift. But for Joey Gallo and having that idea, he felt like that 95-mile-an-hour fastball was off the plate. He's probably right. Unfortunately, it cost him a strike, though.
Not bunting, a big swing and a miss. 1-2. I like at least the thought for Gallo to lay down the bunt.
Yep. Now, it hasn't changed what the Royals are doing. It didn't cause Mike Moustakas to slide in anymore.
Gallo entered this game with 75 strikeouts on the season.
The Royals, holding their ground in that regard. They shift the second most in Major League Baseball, right behind the Astros, who are far and away the team that shifts the most.
Check swing. Did he go? No, says third base umpire Jeff Kellogg.
So we were having that conversation with Ned Yost before the game, and everyone uses different data, and they have their own proprietary information that they use. But what's available publicly or through subscription services, I said, yeah, you guys have done a good job. You're a +12 coming into the series with your shifts. And he kind of looked at me a little sideways.
And Gallo works the walk.
Kind of like, well, I mean, +12. I said, well, it means you've taken away more hits than you've given up, because there are going to be shift-aided hits. There's going to be a time where there's not going to be a second baseman in the standard second base position. The guy's going to hit a ground ball, and that's going to be a base hit. That would be a -1 for you, where the shift caused the hit. But they've done a really good job. They've been in the positive territory. As of most big league teams, there's only about 2 or 3 that are in negative territory where their shifts have gone backwards. But what I was fascinated with as we're having that conversation was he was good. He's almost said, I want to tell my pitchers that, because I'm kind of tired of listening to them complain every time we let up a shift-aided hit, because we're obviously doing a better job with our shifts being on the positive side.
One away for Rougned Odor. Takes the pitch low and inside. And by the way, I wish all of you at home could see the setup that CJ Nitkowski has here in the booth. He's got 2 iPads.
I thought you were talking about a cookie I'm about to put in my mouth.
1 computer, his cell phone going, 2 monitors to watch the game. I'm not sure you have enough things going on.
Caught me eating my cookie. Well, listen, there's a lot of information available.
He said he was putting the cookie.
So it's changed a little bit for me. I've been scoring on my iPad now. This is where the nerd in me really comes out, which is a lot of fun to do. And I got my MLB At Bat app open on the other iPad, which you all better have. I got my Stats Pass open over here on my computer. Got some information.
Look at
the
this.
Screen. Listen, baby, and you got to be prepped around here. Got my Inside Edge scouting reports where I can dig in a little bit. Got to have the iPad that you can score on, of course, right there.
Or you can have a book like this.
Old school, baby. Although you do have the 4-color pen, which is pretty awesome. Doesn't quite put you.
How many colors on your screen right now?
As many as you want, buddy. As many as you want. Limitless. How many shades of red?
Inside, 2 balls and 1 strike to Odor. Odor had the sacrifice bunt his last time up to get Gallo to third base with 1 out, but they could not get Gallo in. And I think it's only fair if we update the fans. How was the chocolate chip cookie?
So it was average at best. It was a pre-packaged cookie. It was not one of the homemade ones that Miss Wanda has here at the Texas Rangers Press Dining Hall. You go this late, you're not going to get the good stuff. You get the leftovers.
Breaking ball in there, first strike, 2-2.
And with this kind of temperature and the humidity right now, it's guilt-free. I mean, those calories will be gone by
the
end
you
of this
sweat
inning.
them out.
Yeah, they're gone before this inning's over.
So you're saying you could do a boomstick right now?
No. I'd be done. Out. You did it last year. Really impressive. A 2-footer.
2 balls and 2 strikes here to Odor. Facing the reliever, Brad Keller. To left field. John Jay over to give it a look, and this is on top of the tarp. Stays 2-2.
So I was discouraged because you did eat the boomstick here last year. You didn't eat the bread. You just went all the meat and the chili and everything else that was on top, and it was an impressive
I was on
feat.
the protein diet.
Yeah, you crushed it. But you seemed a little hesitant on what is all the rage at Globe Life Park this year, which is the Dilly Dog, which is happening right now, and so much so that they had to open a second stand because it has become so popular here. And that's the hot dog wrapped in a pickle that's deep fried, basically corn dog style. And you got a little scared.
I'm not scared. I will
yeah.
say this. The hot dog wrapped in a pickle does sound intriguing.
Yeah.
It's the deep fried part that I would rather not do. Runner goes, throw down by Perez. And it's a stolen base here for Joey Gallo. Second steal of the year for Gallo.
Well, that's certainly not what you would be expecting against Salvador Perez. I mentioned how good he has been at throwing out base runners this year. Just 6 of 13 have been successful. Make it 7 of 14 now, but you're thinking, okay, Delano DeShields, maybe Jurickson Profar, Isaiah kind of Falefa. Joey Gallo's got good speed, and he's sneaky with that speed, and he picked the spot.
They might look at that.
Did he pop off?
He did.
Was the tag still being applied?
It was, but it looks like they're not going to challenge. And I'm happy they're not, because that's one of the things I dislike about replay.
That's a potential tying run in scoring position with 1 out. That would be a big miss. They see that throw ends up on the third base side of second base. There's Gallo
so his
there.
Foot right there. His foot kind of came off as it altered.
Yeah, it's close.
I mean, that's one of those where I think you just have to challenge. Here you are in the 6th inning.
No doubt. Tying run, potential tying run. You certainly take a look. That moment is past.
Instead, now 3 balls and 2 strikes here to Odor.
Would you eat the Dilly Dog if I told you it was lightly fried? Does that help? Instead of deep fried?
Maybe.
All semantics.
Like flash fried. Bounce to first. Backhand play by Dozier. He'll flip to Keller. And down the third base goes Gallo. 2 away.
It was a really nice play by Dozier. He's done a pretty good job over at first base. Be able to catch that on the short hop the way that he did. And knowing if he misses that this game would probably be tied. Hard chopper, and you know you have to hurry too. Odor hustling it down the line. Very nice play and a perfect toss.
Let me ask you this. With Guzman up, 2 outs, do you walk him to get to Perez?
Well, it's not a bad idea. This guy has been locked in. We talked about his last 4 starts. He's hit 4 home runs. I think you go after him carefully, and if you fall behind, you walk him and go after Perez.
Well, maybe they should have walked him, because Guzman hits it to the wall in right center field. We're tied at 3, and Guzman is in with an RBI double. First pitch.
Just mention how good this guy has been swinging the bat lately for the Rangers. And based on what we saw previously when they pitched around Guzman and ultimately ended up giving him the intentional walk, I thought they would have shot corners. But look where Salvador Perez is set up. It wasn't like Keller missed his spot badly. He falls right down the middle and absolutely crushed to right center field.
Gallo easily scoring the tying run. Now Carlos Perez comes up with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs. Keller misses outside. So if you think about it, right, no challenge on the Gallo steal, not intentionally walking Guzman with Perez up, and now we're tied. Guzman pulls it just foul. Excuse me, Perez. Game tied here now in the 6th inning. The Rangers have gotten Alex Claudio up in the bullpen just to start throwing. They've got Dozier, Goins, Escobar due up to the Royals in the 7th. Two balls and one strike here to Carlos Perez. There's Claudio. Bartolo Colon with 89 pitches through 6 innings.
Just cruising, taking it easy. Almost seems like that heat is not affecting him at all.
He's the big sexy. Nothing affects him.
Chewing that gum as he often does. Playing with that gum, he kind of makes this weird gum sandwich in between innings where he flattens it out, rolls it up, and then back in the mouth.
Perez to right field. Soler is there. We will go to the 7th inning. All tied up at 3, courtesy of the RBI double by Ronald Guzman. Ball game. Ian Kennedy, Bartolo Colon, both have been pitching well. Kennedy out of the game after 5. Ronald Guzman with that game-tying RBI double in the bottom half of the 6th, and now it's Hunter Dozier leading off here in the 7th against Colon. And if you think about how this game has played out, Bartolo Colon gave up all 4 of his hits and 3 runs in that 3rd inning. The Rangers have scored runs in the 3rd, 4th, and now 6th innings. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dozier, who walked his last time up as an infield single and the run scored.
Bartolo's really done a nice job 3rd time through the order here as he gets 7, 8, 9 for the 3rd time.
You mean a starter can face a team 3rd time
Big
through the
Bart
order?
can. Now his numbers are okay, not great. 3rd time through the order, it's a 308 batting average against. The OPS really does climb at 993, but at least for the first 6 hitters 3rd time through, he's been very good. 0 for 6.
Has a fastball in there for strike 2.
And probably also worth noting, as his day's probably coming close to an end here, at 45 years old, Bartolo Colon is eligible to start collecting his major league pension if he would like to.
I mean, he is working on a minor league deal, right? That's what he signed.
Every little bit helps.
2-2 to right center field. This will get down and go for extra bases. Dozier heading for second. He'll be in there with a leadoff double. And with Goins coming up, is that going to be it for Bartolo Colon?
Second baseman Ryan Goins.
Alex Claudio has been in that Ranger bullpen throwing. Jeff Bannister has not made any decision yet. This fastball came back over the plate a little bit more than we have seen this afternoon from Bartolo Colon. Nice looking swing there from Dozier.
Claudio's in the pen. The lefty Goins at the plate. Thinking bunt. Goins isn't. Nice play by Guzman, able to hold the runner at second. Covering first is Rougned Odor. That's a 3-4.
That is amazing. You do not see that every day. And I don't know if Ronald Guzman thought that Bartolo was going to be there quicker. It looked like he started to take this himself. First of all, very nice play as he goes to his right. He's got an unbelievable wingspan. And he flips it to Odor, who catches it bare hand. I mean, you don't see this every day, or even often at all.
I'll tell you what, Guzman has made a couple of really nice plays at first base here today. That throw to second when they almost turned a 3-6-3 double play. And now that one to keep Dozier at second, now with one out.
And the crazy thing about it is Joey Gallo is in left field because Guzman is at first. Joey Gallo is actually an excellent first baseman as well. Came up as a third baseman. They moved him over to first second half of last year and the start of this year. And he's a really good athlete, a natural infielder. He's done an excellent job over there. And even with Adrian Beltre out, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has slid into third. It doesn't seem like Joey Gallo will be going back to third base anytime soon.
He doesn't want to.
Pretty vocal about not wanting to go there. And so it's left field, first base, probably occasional DH for Gallo. But you're right, Guzman's done an excellent job defensively at first.
The 0-1 to Escobar, misses down low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Escobar singled and scored in the third, grounded into a fielder's choice in the fourth. 97 pitches here for Colon. Just lofted out to second. A nice sleeping catch by Odor, timing the jump perfectly. 2 away. The MLB At-Bat mobile app brings every baseball moment to your favorite devices. Catch it all season with the free MLB.tv game of the day, highlights, news, and more. Download MLB At-Bat today, your #1 app for live baseball.
So this is interesting too about Bartolo Colon, and you know how we have that wearable technology now, it can keep track of a lot of things, heart rate, hydration, all that. I would love, give me Bartolo Colon over the course of a start, say versus maybe Max Scherzer, who's great in his own right, but he is a high intensity pitcher. Bartolo Colon, I think that heart rate gets above 80 in any situation. I mean, a leadoff double here in the 7th inning, potential go-ahead run, and just very calmly has gotten himself 2 quick outs, and he's still got some work to do to get through John Jay, who he's facing for a 4th time. But you never see it, at least on the outside, where there seems to be any anxiety or nervousness.
That was pitch number 100, a season high for Colon. The only time I could think of was when he had that comeback or hit off his stomach.
He might have got up to 85 beats per minute. That was in Seattle. And he said, yeah, it's no problem. I got some big belly. He absorbed it well.
Fouled away, 1-2 here to Jay.
But that is a great lesson that he can pass on to these guys. I mentioned the relationship that he has with Martin Perez, and Martin Perez on the DL right now. Some conversations about should he try to be in the zone a little bit more, use the 2-seam fastball a little bit more. Obviously he's left-handed and Bartolo's right-handed. There's different lessons they could have from a pitching and conversations from a pitching standpoint, but then these conversations as well from the mental standpoint. So much to learn from Big Bart.
1-2. Center field, DeShields with the sunglasses on, there to make the catch, and Colon gets around the leadoff double. He has gone 7 innings. He has kept his team in the game. And this game is all tied up at 3 as we stretch them out here in Arlington, Texas. And if the Rangers can score in this inning, it would put him in line for a win. And what would that win mean? Well, he is one shy of tying the record by a Dominican-born pitcher. Juan Marichal, 243 wins. Bartolo Colon with 242. And third on the list, Pedro Martinez.
Certainly would be a pretty incredible moment. The handshakes came around. Bartolo Colon done for the day. And so the Rangers will have one shot here in the bottom of the seventh to try to make that happen. And more importantly, Bartolo Colon, another quality start here for the Texas Rangers. And now 5 of his 9 starts, he's got at least 7 innings. And after that third inning, it really appeared like that wasn't going to happen today. And that just gives you an idea how good this guy can be in spots, regardless of how the game goes, just staying calm, cool, collected, and delivering a fantastic performance.
Time now for our dynamic play of the game presented by Hankook Tire. It's not a play, but it's dealing with the elements.
Yeah, the sun today, right from the beginning of the game. Joey Gallo having to battle it, does a nice job. Delano DeShields on that one almost caught him in the face, and then we saw this between Mike Moustakas and Alcides Escobar. And then the great play by Whit Merrifield out in center. Nomar Mazara leaping in the right field gap. So nice job defensively all the way around.
Delano DeShields leading off here in the 7th. Did not offer on the bunt, says Chad Whitson, the first base umpire. 1 ball and no strikes.
Kansas City Royals dugout not thrilled about that at all. You can hear them from up here.
Two balls and no strikes to DeShields. And if DeShields can get on to lead off this inning, that could be huge with his speed on the bases.
Down finding a way. You may see the Rangers try to play a little bit of small ball.
A bouncer to second, shortstop. Escobar retires him for the first out. Jose Leclerc is up in the pen for the Rangers as Shin-Soo Choo steps to the plate. The Rangers get a run here in the 7th. Colon, 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a season high 102 pitches. trying to tie Juan Marichal for the most wins in a career by a Dominican-born pitcher. Ground ball, second base, Goins, 2 away.
Third baseman Isaiah
Couple of ground outs against Brad Keller. 2 away now for Isaiah Falefa.
Takes a little while to get used to it. That was me in spring training, tripping all over myself. And
you know, you have your computer. My handwriting got screwed up there.
we all have our excuses, so whether it's the computer or the pen.
It's the multicolored pen that's getting to me. 1 ball, no strikes to Kiner Falefa.
Do it. I'm not gonna name names, but I watched a broadcast where they just completely threw in the towel and only called him Kiner. And that's not you and I. We don't quit.
No.
It might be a challenge, but set it in front of us. We're going to climb that mountain. Kiner Falefa.
2 balls and a strike.
How about this? We had it the other day where we had hyphenated names with Austin Bibbins-Dirks. There he is right there, making the start. Isaiah Kiner Falefa at third. Bibbins-Dirks, a starter, just got recalled by the Rangers after making his debut last year. First time ever in Major League history.
No.
Yes. Think about it, man. Think about it. Can you think of another hyphenated? Because there's only one other one.
Shinsu? Chu?
Well, you can go down the Korean path, which is a little bit different.
Oh.
Well, it's standard for Korean names. And if you notice, even when we font Chu, he doesn't get the dash. So that's right. That's TV terminology, Justin. Font.
Tapper out in front of home plate. And that is a fair ball as Perez tags Kiner Falefa for the final out here of the 7th. So Bartolo Colon, hang on a minute, because here comes Jeff Bannister. He's saying, was that really out in front of home plate?
This is one of those plays that you would not be able to challenge. Let's see what that ball is. It's hard to tell from there.
We saw Perez pounce on it.
It's really hard to see where the plate is in this spot, but boy, that ball looked like it bounced straight up. I can't imagine that ball was fair. Well, here you go.
Marvin Hudson says it is.
Well, you know what? A better look here. Yeesh. I mean, that ball might have came down and hit the plate.
Yeah. Jose Leclerc is coming in for the Rangers. Tie game to the 8th inning. Andrew Leclerc is in relief of Bartolo Colon, Jose Leclerc. As the first pitch is up high to Whit Merrifield. Jose Leclerc, the numbers on him this year.
First, take a look at this. This fastball got away from Leclerc a little bit, and he's got a pretty good one. Velocity for him averaging 94 miles an hour this year. But Merrifield didn't seem to enjoy that very much.
Merrifield had that 2-run double back in the third.
See if Leclerc comes back. He's got a really good cut changeup that he throws to righties. After that fastball would be a good pitch.
Here are those numbers we told you were coming. 16 games, a 2.40 ERA. 10 walks to 19 strikeouts. Opponents hitting just 137 against him, though.
Leclerc hasn't pitched very much lately. Over the last week, he only has pitched once and only threw 6 pitches. So we should be feeling a little fresh, maybe even a little bit too strong, as we're seeing him miss now with the fastball at 94, 95 miles per hour. He has played a very important role in the Texas Rangers bullpen. The only thing that gets in his way is every once in a while the command will get away from him. You're seeing it right here. Outside of that, he has been excellent.
And he misses again with a fastball, and this will be a mound visit from Carlos Perez. MLB on FS1 is sponsored by Hankook Tire. Chase down your passion, never halfway. And by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Memorial Day weekend here in Arlington, Texas. Justin Kutcher alongside CJ Nitkowski here on FS1. Game 3 of this 4-game series between the Rangers and the Royals. The teams have split the first 2 games of the series. But here the Royals have their leadoff man on base to open up the 8th inning. And Whit Merrifield, he can run. 12 of 14 in stolen bases on the season. Mike Moustakas looking for his first hit today. 0 for 2 with an intentional walk. And check on Merrifield over at first base. Now, if you're Moustakas and you just saw control be an issue for Leclerc, do you focus on a breaking ball here?
You're not expecting him. You're thinking about it a little bit. Now he throws that changeup, which can get a little funky. I'd say in these kind of situations late in the game, if you are up in the zone, kind of let it fly. We said that with knuckleball pitchers, right? If you see it high, let it fly. Anything, knees and below or mid thigh and below, you let it go. But if he floats your breaking ball because he just wants to get a first pitch strike after that 4-pitch walk, absolutely you'd be all over.
It was a breaking ball, missing low and inside for ball 1.
So did you see where Perez was set up? And this is where Jose Leclerc baffles anybody that watches him. So that it looked exactly like a slider. That is actually a cut changeup that he throws. Look where Perez is. He's away. He wanted that ball down and away, and he has that changeup. And if he turns it over, it should normally stay straight or fade away from a lefty. He has a tendency to get on the side, and he does it intentionally to righties. But you don't want that changeup going down and into righties. That is a really dangerous pitch. He's got to be careful against the veteran Moustakas. Leclerc has crushed lefties this year as a right-handed pitcher. 0.71 batting average against.
I was about to say, do you take a strike if you're Moustakas, but he took a hack at that one.
Too good of a hitter for me. And when you get down to the bottom of the order, maybe it's not a veteran, you'd prefer that he take a strike, but you get to this level, you really let your guys do what they feel best. You want them to be able to trust their instincts. And for a guy like Mike Moustakas, who's having another great power year, had a monster season a year ago, he certainly has the confidence of his manager to take a hack if he sees something he likes.
1-1, ground ball second. Odor to Profar for 1, over first, and a 4-6-3 double play.
Well, this is something that the Rangers have been very good at over the past couple of seasons, turning the double play, and a great job by Jose Leclerc to get this thing started. It was an easy 4-6-3, as you see Rougned Odor making that perfect throw over to Jurickson Profar and getting Moustakas, who does not run well, in plenty of time. So interesting because we sit there, we run numbers, we try to project what will happen. Jose Leclerc has a 31% ground ball rate. That's well below league average. He has not gotten a double play all year. That was the first one.
It starts off with a breaking ball.
And I mentioned how good he has been. Look at this among relievers with at least 50 at-bats against him. Jose Leclerc, Edwin Diaz, Aroldis Chapman, Jose Leclerc with the lowest batting averages against. Diaz and Chapman, electric arms.
1 ball, 1 strike to Salvador Perez, looking for his first hit of the game. Inside out's that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Top of the 8th inning, all tied up at 3. And he gets him swinging. So he recovers after the leadoff walk to get a double play and a strikeout. On a nasty pitch here to get Salvador Perez. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 3-3 game. Mazzaro will lead things off against a new pitcher. It is a lefty in Tim Hill for the Royals. 19 games, 15 innings, a 3.00 ERA, 6 walks, 15 strikeouts, but a funky delivery for Tim Hill.
Yeah, he's got good velocity for a side armor, averages right around 92 miles per hour. The Rangers saw him 2 nights ago and watched him throw 33 pitches in which he was a little bit wild. Some issues with the fastball, but that's a good one right there on the corner at 92.
And a good time to bring him in, facing Mazzaro, a lefty, Jurickson Profar, a switch hitter, Gallo, Odor, Guzman, all lefties.
So we got a pretty good description from the Royals on who Hill was. Well, he's a typical lefty, which, you know, normally what does that mean? Well, we know what that means. Probably a little bit goofy, probably a little bit out there. Probably a guy who would call the game with 17 screens in front of him.
I was about to say that. I'm glad you said it.
that kind of lefty.
Maybe a guy who's got 33 different devices brought to you by Apple.
I wish I had that. Take a look at the sidearm delivery here from Hill and what's unique about him, and that pretty much is right at sidearm as far as where the arm angle, release point. That one a little bit lower. But you know what's interesting, as we were talking to Ned Yost about him, and he said, yeah, I said, well, it's pretty great, but you got a sidearmer who can bring it a little bit. You know, Alex Claudio is a sidearmer out in that Ranger bullpen. His fastball sits around 86, 87 miles an hour. And they said it's good and it's bad. You like having the velocity, but he doesn't necessarily get that kind of sink that you're expecting from a guy who comes from that arm angle. So sometimes that slightly higher velocity can work against him.
That is a strikeout. Mazzaro is not going to run to first base. Instead, he's just going to walk back to the dugout. So 1 away here in the 8th. This Royals team, which went to back-to-back World Series and won one, was really built around their bullpen. But you see the numbers in the past season and a half, and it's a complete, almost like 180.
It's been a rough go of it. last couple of years for that bullpen. You're right, and I really feel like the Royals put it on the map not to have a guy that could close pitching the 8th inning, because the Yankees did that years ago with Mariano Rivera when he set up for John Wetland, but going beyond that. And they at one point had Herrera, Wade Davis, and Greg Holland, all 3 guys that could close anywhere, and Ned Yost was religious about it. 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning. Greg Holland had a run of over 150 straight games in which he never threw more than an inning for Ned Yost. And that really worked well for them, and they dominated, and it was game over if you could get to the 6th inning for the Kansas City Royals with the lead. That has changed a little bit, but I also believe that that is one of the things that sparked this conversation. If you had a guy that could touch 100 miles an hour the way Herrera was doing, upper 90s to 100, pitching in the 7th inning, that was somewhat unheard of not that long ago.
1-1, Profar to left center field. John Jay not going to get there. Profar into second. He's going to stop there. He now has a double and a triple on the day, and a runner in scoring position with 1 out here in the 8th inning. His numbers are much better as a righty, and he comes through.
And that's one of the biggest surprises of 2018 for the Rangers, is what Jurickson Profar has done against left-handed pitching. That was a concern coming in, and he's kind of flipped the script in that regard and has hit lefties extremely well. And it's a couple of really comfortable swings that we have seen from Jurickson Profar today. First the triple that ultimately led to the 2nd run of the game, and now that double, which the Rangers hoping will lead to the 4th run of the game.
It's Gallo, the lefty, against the lefty Tim Hill. And a good pitch to start him off with 92 at the knees on the outside corner. Gallo, RBI double in the 4th, walked, stole a base, and scored the tying run in the 6th. Trying to give his team the lead here in the 8th. Big swing, 0-2.
Joey Gallo had some interesting comments a few weeks ago when he talked about his approach, because everyone's curious. Monster power, lots of strikeouts. You know, how does this guy go about it? And he was pretty simple in his response. I'm up there trying to do damage. I want to change the scoreboard. That's it. And he's done it a lot. Yeah, there's some swing and miss there, but it's tremendous power.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Unbelievable. He has more home runs in his career than he does singles.
Pretty fascinating. You don't see it too often, and as his career goes on, I believe we'll see that change to some degree, but there's a lot of power and a big swing from Joey Gallo.
Stays alive, fouls it off.
One thing he doesn't do very often against left-handed pitching, even though there's been some struggles there, is he does not hit the ball on the ground against lefties. Just an 18% ground ball rate. That is the 4th lowest in baseball.
Off speed pitch, catches the inside corner for strike 3. So 2 strikeouts in the inning here for Tim Hill. 1 swinging, 1 looking.
Let's take a look at this off speed pitch that didn't do exactly what Tim Hill wanted it to do. You see how it ended up finishing in the inner 3rd. He was trying to sweep this ball away, and it was kind of one of those that we call a cement mixer, where it just kind of sits there and spins, and you would never want to do it on purpose, but it is the kind of pitch that will catch a hitter off guard. Almost expecting it to break, and it did nothing. It just stayed there.
You mean off guard when you could read the player's lips saying, "Oh, wow," with a smile?
I can't believe it stayed there. He'd love another shot at that one.
Odor takes the first pitch fastball for a strike. Odor 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt. He has kept the ball on the ground all day long, trying to find a hole right now. A 1-out double by Jurickson Profar. Sandwich between strikeouts of Mazzara and Gallo, 2 lefties. In the air, center field, Merrifield. Almost in his tracks, makes the catch. We'll go to the 9th inning, all tied up at 3. this 4-game series between the Royals and the Rangers. Well, some of the biggest stars in baseball are on Fox tonight. Most of you will see Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and the Yankees battle the Angels led by Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. It all happens at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on Fox. Check local listings for the game in your area. It is remarkable when you think about that matchup of the Yankees and the Angels all around the field. I mean, there are stars everywhere.
No doubt about it. Think about the multiple MVPs you'll see as well. Mike Trout off to maybe one of the best starts of his career, and his career
which is scary.
Pretty incredible.
Chris Martin is in, the third pitcher of the game for the Rangers. First pitch to Soler to center field. To Shields, one away.
By the way, I don't want to leave people hanging. I gave you a chance to guess who was the other hyphenated name, non-Korean hyphenated name. And this wasn't something I made up. This was in notes, official notes from Stats or somebody else, that there's only been 3 hyphenated names. Any guesses? Can you think of another hyphenated name at the big league level?
Oh, man. All right.
Not that far away. Retired player, now in broadcasting. I'll help you a little bit. Pacific Northwest. Not born in the States. Not an American.
So it's a Canadian?
Incorrect.
Okay.
Australian. Left-handed pitcher.
The lefty from Australia that I can think of is Graham Lloyd.
That is only one last name.
Correct.
And he doesn't hyphenate it.
Hence the reason I was saying that's the only one I could think of.
Seattle Mariners. It's a fill-in broadcaster with them now. He's only local, so I know you probably don't pay him any attention. He's not a national broadcaster big time. Ryan Roland Smith.
Ah. Says the guy who's got 4 iPads here.
Right. So we work hard here at the local level.
Alex Gordon. A swing and a miss, 2-1.
Chris Martin has been a really good story for the Texas Rangers. They have had some success finding guys that went over to Japan and then come back, and that's been a trend in the game that we have seen a lot. Tony Barnett, another righty in their bullpen, same kind of story. Chris Martin is that guy, and a local guy as well.
Down low, 3 balls and a strike here to Gordon. A couple of strikeouts and a line out for Alex Gordon here today.
Kobe Lewis was a guy that went down that path for the Texas Rangers. Go to Japan, come back, and really be impact at the big league level. Miles Mikolas with the St. Louis Cardinals right now, was over in Japan. Did not pitch well at all in spring training. He's turned into their best starter. Good chance he'll be in the All-Star game.
3 balls and 2 strikes.
And it's a really smart play. Guys that are trying to establish themselves, maybe struggling a little bit. Either they can't get to the big leagues here in the States, or they've had a little bit of a taste like Chris Martin did, but didn't do particularly well. Go over to Japan. It's a completely different experience. Go make a little bit of money while you're there. Kind of take some of that pressure off that you feel. Not that there's not pressure there in Japan. There is, but you go over there, at least you got yourself a guaranteed contract. And
Eric Thames.
Eric Thames, another one. Was he in Korea?
Korea, yeah. Gordon, right center field. Mazzara has to play this one on a bounce. Gordon takes a wide turn. He'll stop there at first base. A 1-out single for Alex Gordon.
Now, Alex Gordon, as we mentioned, just swinging a much better bat than he had those first 2 years when he re-signed the Kansas City Royals. Got that sweet left-handed swing. He's DHing tonight, or this afternoon, because of that injury sustained in St. Louis, but good swing there from the usual left fielder for the Royals.
As Hunter Dozier steps in, doubled his last time up, how do you explain the improvement for Alex Gordon after 2 really down years when he was just searching for something to go right?
I will tell you this, Ned Yost was having a hard time kind of coming up with a reason. I'd asked him multiple times during the struggles last year. You know, guys continue to do their work. You know, I think we make assumptions sometimes, and a guy gets a contract and he struggles, and we just say, oh, he must have mailed it in. These guys have much more pride than most people probably realize, and they dig in, they figure it out, they do their work. I don't know what exactly he identified as the issue, but he continued to grind and find a way, and it's been a good start to 2018.
Ball 1 here to Hunter Dozier. Dozier had the first hit of the game against Cologne, the infield single back in the 3rd. Had a double to right center field in the 7th. To lead off that inning, was stranded at 2nd as Bartolo Colon got through 7 innings. 1-1 strike.
It's the cutter from Chris Martin at 91 miles an hour. You've seen the fastball that'll get up to 95, 96 at times.
See the shadows starting to creep in.
Yeah. Could be a little bit of an issue. That ball starts in the sun, and then, of course, goes into the shade. Can make picking up spin a little bit more difficult.
So knowing that as a pitcher, what would you go to when you had shadows?
You try not to change what you do. I mean, this guy's been so good, right? Chris Martin has been good, period. Stick to your game plan. You start thinking about those other factors, you can get yourself in trouble. If you don't do what you normally do, oh, should I throw a couple extra breaking balls because it's harder to see the spin, and next thing you know, you hang one and the ball's hitting the gap. So say stick to your game plan.
Right center field, DeShields over to make the catch, and back to first base goes Gordon. 2 away.
Second baseman.
Well, the Royals do have 2 men up in the bullpen, Kevin McCarthy and Kelvin Herrera. Of course, if they take the lead, we're going to see Herrera. And if not, McCarthy. Working up a sweat. Doesn't take very long to work up a sweat here today. 97 degrees here in Arlington.
Yes, but a much better experience in that Rangers bullpen ever since they redesigned it. The visitors bullpen that we just showed. Now it kind of goes parallel, I guess you could say, to the field. They've opened up some area out there. There's more room to sit. The American Standard Dr. Pepper sign, that used to be seats, and the bullpen used to just go long ways back to that hand-cooked tire. And it was like being in a pizza oven out there. It was brutal coming in here in August because you're just surrounded by cement, and the heat would just come and it would stay, and it was awful. It was a really tough place to come in as a visitor. They've done a nice job making it a little bit more comfortable.
Like living in New York City in the summertime?
Exactly. And the Rangers go to New York in August. That'll be a treat for a 4-game set. But you're absolutely right. This, it's that same feeling when you're walking through a major city. The heat just gets in the cement and the bricks, and it just doesn't go away.
1-0 strikes to Goins. I wonder if Gordon tries to steal a base. 2 outs. You got your 8-hole hitter up. Get yourself into scoring position. He's 2 for 2 in stolen bases on the season. Martin's not incredibly fast to the plate.
Yeah, it could be on the table, no doubt about it. I mean, a 1-1 count right now. I guess the one thing is, if you can hit a ball in the gap, you feel like Alex Gordon would probably be able to score. You don't want to give that up. And Perez is a good thrower. Something else to keep an eye on. There he goes.
There he goes. And a foul ball. No, that's a fair ball. It never hit Goins, and that'll be an out. Goins.
Is he limping off?
Yeah. Don't know, maybe if he twisted an ankle. But he's out. We go to the bottom half of the 9th, tied at 3.
But the top of the ninth inning ended a little bit strangely. Let's get a look at this replay. A Chris Martin fastball, and you'll see it clear as day that that ball did not hit Ryan Goins, but he reacted as if he did. And so with confidence, I will tell you that the Oscar goes to Ryan Goins.
And not just that, he limped back to the dugout.
I mean, that's commitment. When you really want to dig in as a character, you got to go all the way in. That was fantastic.
New pitcher Kevin McCarthy in to face Ronald Guzman. First pitch fouls it back. Guzman had the game-tying RBI double in the 6th. McCarthy's numbers 3-1, a 2.75 ERA. 19 2/3 innings, 4 walks, 13 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .250 against him. He's given up 1 home run. The fans here in Arlington would love to see him give up a second. And out in front of that off-speed pitch. No balls and 2 strikes for Guzman.
So McCarthy is a guy, not a lot of strikeouts for him, just a 5.9 strikeout per 9 rate, but a heavy ground ball. So he pitches to contact, does not walk a lot of hitters, 1.8 walks per 9, tremendous rate. He relies on hitters catching the top half of the baseball and hitting a ground ball.
That bounces all the way back to McCarthy. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Three runs, 6 hits, no errors for Kansas City. 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Texas. Bottom half of the 9th inning. Neither starter will factor in the decision. Colon went 7 innings, so he's still 1 shy of tying Juan Marichal for most career wins by a Dominican-born pitcher. He's at 242. Two balls, 2 strikes here to Guzman. Popped up. Coming over is the pitcher McCarthy to give it a look.
Guzman kind of going Adrian Beltre style right there, down to 1 knee. It's the Beltre move. There's Adrian, unfortunately, on the disabled list, but keeping those lips moist. Watch the back leg here go down. I feel like when we see Adrian do that, he's making contact with that knee down. Often imitated, never replicated.
One of a kind. Another 2-2. Popped up. John Jay coming in from left field. Will make the catch in fair territory for the first out. And with Perez coming up, we're going to have a pinch hitter here for the Rangers. Perez was due up. Instead, it's going to be Robinson Chirinos.
Chirinos, of course, is the starting catcher here with the Texas Rangers, so this will be an easy switch for Jeff Bannister. Hopefully for the Rangers, this game does not continue, but if it does, Chirinos would take over at catcher.
Chirinos has 6 home runs on the season, 15 RBIs. Runs in the 3rd, 4th, and 6th innings for the Rangers. All 3 runs for the Royals came in the 3rd. And the first pitch catches the inside corner for a strike. Ranger pinch hitters this year, 1 for 8. 1 ball and 1 strike here to Chirinos.
For Robinson Chirinos, this will be the 11th time in his career where he's gotten a pinch hit opportunity. He's 2 for 9 with a double. 222 in his career.
Chopper to second. Backhand by Goins. 2 outs. So to the top of the order we go, and Delano DeShields. If you're looking to the 10th inning, it's 9-1-2 in the order for the Royals coming up. A single and a run scored in the 3rd. A fly out, a pop out, and a ground out. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-1 the count here to DeShields. Today's attendance 29,644 on Memorial Day weekend. First pitch, it was 96 degrees. Inside, 2-1. And again, if DeShields can get on, you wonder if they try to steal with him with Chu coming up, or just see if Chu can do damage on his own.
Yeah, it's certainly a situation the Rangers would like to find themselves in. You know, when you have Delino DeShields at first, of course, it would open up the right side of the infield for the lefty Chu.
Shoots it down the right field line, but foul.
Then the idea, of course, of trying to get Delino into scoring position would be ideal as well. It's fun to watch. Salvador Perez has been so good in those spots this year and over the course of his career.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Again, spoiled foul by DeShields. The shadows are just about over every part except for the left side of the mound. Tapper back to the pitcher, McCarthy. And a 1-2-3 inning work by him. We will go to the 10th extra innings here on Memorial Day weekend between the Royals and the Rangers, tied up at 3. Rangers. Robinson Chirinos pinch hit in the 9th, and he is now taken over as the catcher. And the new pitcher into the game for the Rangers is Alex Claudio. 2-2, a 4.32 ERA in 25 innings. They'll face Alcides Escobar leading off here in the 10th. And the first pitch in there, first strike.
You saw those numbers there. Alex Claudio does an excellent job filling up the strike zone, throws a ton of strikes, not a swing and miss guy by any means, but the walk rate has been fantastic. It is all about the ground balls for him. 60% ground ball rate, and he's got a changeup that absolutely baffles right-handed hitters, and he's not afraid to throw it to lefties either. We will see that changeup at times as slow as 64 miles an hour. He'll throw it usually 64 to 72, but you don't see left on left changeup very much.
Going outside. 2 balls and 1 strike here to Escobar.
The only trouble he has run into, he had an excellent year last year for the Rangers. He was their pitcher of the year, but the only trouble he'll ever run into is when right-handed hitters take the opposite field approach to him. If you try to pull him, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Escobar tried taking that right field approach. Shoots it foul. 2-2. Escobar scored a run back in that 3rd inning when the Royals got all 3 of their runs. Slow roll to 3rd base. A nice play by Connor Falefa. 1 away. Well, now that we're in extra innings, how these teams fared so far. Advantage Rangers on the season 4-1. The Royals 2-3.
I think that probably speaks to the bullpens. We showed that information earlier and how things have changed here over the last couple of seasons for the Kansas City Royals. Now the Rangers last year had all kinds of bullpen issues. Things have been significantly improved in that regard. Alex Claudio, the man you see right now, was doing a lot of closing last year for the Rangers. That job now belongs to Keone Kela. We got some veterans down there now. Jesse Chavez has been helping out. Matt Bush in his 3rd year. Chris Martin, who we just saw. Jose Leclerc having a nice season. Much different feel in that bullpen.
John Jay over Claudio's head. Profar. Nice play. Able to range to his left and make that play near 2nd base.
Well, good job by the left side of the infield here, and it's not Elvis Andrews and Adrian Beltre, but Jurickson Profar and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And for Jurickson Profar, having to make that throw on the run, a really nice, clean exchange, not a lot of time at all. He got rid of it quickly, and a nice strong throw as he rolls out of the pocket.
Barely out. 2 away now for Whit Merrifield. Merrifield will test Profar again. This time a backhand. 1 hopper scooped out by Guzman. A 1-2-3 inning work by Claudio. We go to the bottom of the 10th. Can the Rangers walk it off? In Arlington, Texas, 3-3 game, and it's 2-3-4 in the order. Shin-Soo Choo, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and Nomar Mazara to face Kevin McCarthy in his 2nd inning of work. And a First pitch is down low to Chu.
This is the best contact part of the lineup. Obviously, you're in the middle of the lineup, but also the guys that put the ball in play with the most frequency. And I mentioned, of course, the kind of pitcher McCarthy is. He's a ground ball pitcher, and so the idea of trying to get one of these ground balls through the hole to get things started here for the Rangers would be ideal.
And this is one of the rare instances in baseball where you don't have a huge shift on with a lefty, or really for anybody. You've got two guys on the left side of the infield, two guys on the right. And that's in there for a strike. 2-1 to Chu. Looking for his first hit of the game. Walked back in the first. He has since grounded out twice and struck out. The 2-1 inside, 3 balls and 1 strike. Chu thought he had worked to walk earlier in the game on a 3-0 pitch. And now Chu in the air, left center field, back is Jay, this is gone! A walk-off home run for Shin-Soo Chu. An opposite field walk-off home run for Chu, his 8th homer of the season. And back-to-back wins for the Rangers here against the Royals.
Well, Chu has been red hot. We talked about what he has done over his last 12 games and reaching base with the walks. But how about his 3rd career walk-off home run? What an excellent approach from the left-handed hitter, knowing that you have a guy with a good sinker that's trying to get you to hit the ball on the ground. This ball finishes right over the middle of the plate. He stays on it, drives it the other way, and that ball continued to carry. It looked like it might have been a routine pop-up off the bat. That gives you an idea of the strength of Chu as he hits a big one here for the Rangers on a Saturday afternoon that was hot. Pretty interesting pitching duel. And Chu ends it when it's all said and done. 106 miles an hour off the bat and a distance of 411 feet.
A big win for the Rangers as they take this one 4-3. They come from behind to win it in 10 innings. For CJ Nikowski and our entire crew, I am Justin Kutcher saying so long from Arlington. Coming up next, it's FS1 UFC Fight Night weigh-in.